Hello and welcome to this recording. As you'll see in like a minute, a little over, we call this a podcast at the start, and that's because we did think going in it would be a podcast, but now me in post, in my infinite wisdom, has labelled this not a podcast. It can't be qualified as a podcast. It was done in 3 separate sittings for a third each time. It just doesn't have that podcast vibe in post. It might do for viewers, but not for me. And I hold the knowledge here. I call the shots. There's no beating around the bush. How I feel, how I say, it goes. I'm not messing about. So, just get buckled in, alright? And I'll quote 2 philosophers just as we start. Foucault said at the start of one of his lectures on power, I encourage your indulgence and your malice. As to say, indulge, enjoy. But the malice, what's that? What is the malice? That's criticism. Critique our words, right? Don't take our words as gospel. We let's just say we weren't in blind agreement with ourselves. So why should our incredibly wise viewers do the same? Right, well, why shouldn't they do the same, rather? Right? Think for yourself. And that brings us to the George Berkeley quote, which is, all men have opinions, yet few men think. I paraphrased there. But, come on, reason yourself, don't be lazy. But, I have high expectations for my viewers. I know you're all incredibly scholarly and wise. So I knew you wouldn't do this anyway. So, I'm beating a dead horse there. But I'll have a message at the end. Enjoy. And I'll let the video do the speaking. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Another video, podcast, whatever you want to call it, here today. The old weekly. Today we're doing something that we haven't done before. We're just going through the political compass. We're gonna go through each question and come to a common consensus. We're of course going to disagree on some points, but we're just going to see where us as a group turn out. We're joined by Ollie over here.
Hello, Atlas Miller, 2170.
Yeah, otherwise known as Atlas Miller. And LP.
Hello.
Hey up.
Hey up.
And
North.
yeah, shall we just get right into it?
Get stuck.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll read out each question. If economic that we finally get to actually address this question and think about it.
I know.
By the way. If economic globalization...
This will come up in our thing before, in our podcast
several times. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Who wants to take this one?
Can I take this one? Because I feel like I'm the one who's milked the joke enough.
Okay.
Yes.
Go first.
I agree, because at the end of the day, this is just more like socialism versus capitalism here. Humanity rather than companies. So I would say that you just sort of have to. I feel like it should benefit humanity rather than just like 1 or 2 people at the top. We're discussing this last week about 50% of the 1% of the population holding 50% of the wealth, and that comes into it. So I think it should benefit humanity rather than the bosses.
Okay. So you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
I'll let Ollie shoot.
Okay. Me and HippieBoi talked about this.
Yeah, we have a qualm with this question.
And it's the fact that it presupposes that both aren't possible.
Indeed.
Which it seems to always be, I'm not saying trickle down's right or anything, but I'm just saying that it's very good. Companies can organize.
It presupposes that you can't have one without the other, and so it's insinuating that, well, well, it has to do one, and it's of course, it should primarily serve humanity.
Yeah, no, but I think that word
suggesting,
primarily.
that's
I think no, but I think that word primarily shows that mainly. What should it mainly do?
Yeah, indeed.
It's not like it's not saying that it can't do both.
Yeah,
but it's saying what should be the main purpose.
Yeah.
60-40.
The thing is, my qualm with that is I don't think you can legislate something like this. I think it'd be very tricky, and you'd have to, legally speaking, you'd have to dip into troubled waters, and you'd have to become a regulation machine. You'd have to, with these corporations, and I, to be honest, I mistrust quite a few corporations. Nestle, kind of the big black pillar on this. But I think you can have both. It's very difficult. So I agree that it should serve humanity, but I disagree with the question. I suppose fundamentally that it can't do both, right? I believe that globally speaking, we can do things. We can do both. But what's the consensus?
I'd say agree.
I don't know. I guess we can all put in our own answers.
I think
right?
we should. I think it's an agree though, because it doesn't necessarily say that it can't do both. It just says primarily. That's the main focus. It can still serve transnational corporations, but it's just saying, should it just mainly focus on that? Obviously the rich obviously the owners have to get some wealth. No one's saying that, but it's also saying that who should get the majority. Should it be the actual people, that are getting the goods, gaining good, or should it be the rich?
I understand. I'd say we all put in our own answers, and then at the end I will. But what do you say, Ollie?
No, you won't. Jamie will.
I would say agree.
Jamie will.
I'm gonna
purely based that obviously humanity, just on a moral ground, humanity is better than transnational corporations.
I'm gonna say I disagree with the question, but I do agree with the question. As in, I think it could be better. It could be worded better.
Better
I will
worded.
agree.
But I mean that it's just supposedly. It's a question that kind of makes you want to go one way, no matter what. If you said disagree to that, you would seem
quite, quite cold, and rightly so. It's a bit hard to say I trust or I would support transnational corporations over humanity, right? That's a hell of a thing to say.
I only support the current thing, so
Okay, should we go on to the next? We had some technical difficulties, but Ollie,
you need to put that screen in, Jamie.
But I always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I'll let Ollie start there.
I would pick strongly agree. You think as a nation, not as a state. Support the people of the country, but don't support the state.
And this is very much similar to what I think. I believe all communities were founded on good, and thus we need to, prolong that good by cooperating. Societies flourish through cooperation, and the needs of the people precede that of the state, though they are linked, of course. The state should be interested in the people. Also, I want to say I believe my country is wrong, but I do strongly agree to this question. I support the people more than anything. LP.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. I sort of agree with you. And, you have to. Well, I think it really depends. Like, obviously, what's going on. Say you were like, I'm going to give an extreme example, right? But I think this could be a real world possibility. Who knows? 50 years down the line. Say you're in a sort of fascist country. You don't agree with all the ideology, but the people follow it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree with my people either. So
that would be the states doing, not the people doing.
I know, but it'd be the state, but it'd be the country still. It'd be the country's morals
this
at
is
that
quite
point.
like a double think scenario.
It was
where
like
the people are indoctrinated by fascist beliefs.
Yeah.
See, but then it doesn't become just the state. It doesn't just become the government. It becomes
the
country's
state's problems
morals.
can leak onto the people. That is
Yeah.
true.
So I wouldn't always support my
don't
country.
know.
I would try and
Sorry, actually, no. Could finish.
I would try and support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I would always try to, until a certain point where it's imposing on my beliefs and my morals.
Fair enough. Yeah. I'll just add, in the case of a fascist state, obviously it leaks onto the people, but we often find that the people with these extreme ideologies often come to just grow out of them, and in fascist Italy's case, overthrow them. Extreme ideologies are an example which can just wear off over time. There's a promise and it's not fulfilled.
And that's exactly. But that's where I think the good comes from it, and that's when you do start to support your country again. But when everyone's especially
when everyone's wrong.
Yeah, when everyone's wrong, but you have the opposing belief, and that's imposing on your morals, then it's hard to be proud of your actual country.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's I'm sure there's people with ideologies out in somewhere in England, who thinks we're all wrong, and they don't support our country because the way we've been raised and our morals through our country. So it's just the way you look at it, As a whole, I would always try and be supportive of my country. I'd always find something to support about it, whether it's the sports or, some cooking show or something. It's just something, to show how good our country can be. But I don't think it's always capable.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say if you're in such a situation, then surely the thing that would best support your country or its people would be to, snap them out of this if they all think like that.
Indeed. Yeah, no, it's the best way to support your country is fighting through thick and thin. Not abandoning your post, so to say.
But not supporting doesn't mean abandoning.
No,
you can not support something, but still be there.
Yeah, I don't know. What I mean by abandoning is losing all hope, in a sense.
Yes. I'm not saying you have to lose hope, but
I think we're dancing a little bit on real deep intricacies here, but for the most part, I do strongly agree. So that's where I'm finishing. LP.
No, I've got nothing more to add.
No. Where do you finish? Where do we?
Finish? I'm on disagree because obviously you got there.
That's fair enough. Ollie, are you strongly agree?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. No one chooses onto the next. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Who wishes to start?
Disagree. I strongly disagree.
So you're extremely strong. You're very proud of your country.
I think you should always be proud of your birth country because it's your heritage. It's at the end of the day, it's going to be your culture, whether you're actually from that country or not. If you're born there, if you're living there. I think if you're for instance, say you're born when your mum was on holiday, I don't think you necessarily have to be really proud of that country you're born in. But I think it's the country you've grown up
from
in.
an ancestral point of view.
Yeah. You should always be proud of that country. You should if they've had bad spells, like some dictatorish, or some immoral moments.
Yeah, that kind
of.
Don't
be proud of that.
That links to the one above.
You can be proud of something as a whole and then have a bad history. I'm proud of Britain. I don't like what we did, with colonization. I thought colonization is good in some parts, but on the whole, it was quite a, inhumane thing we did. So I believe I'm still proud of England. We have good things. We've done so many inventions. It's good to be proud of.
I think it's always best to look at, your successes. You can never, looking at history You know, it's so easy to just say, well, the British Empire were just evil, right?
Yeah.
When, you know, it's not like that, you know, and we really need to focus on what was good, because we never really get there wallowing in negativity. But Ollie, I feel like he's been trying to get something in. What do you have to say?
No, I strongly disagree. I think you've said my points quite well.
Yeah, no, LP hit the nail on the head. I strongly disagree as well. Okay.
It's not very productive to be.
You know, constantly looking at history negatively. You know, of course we need to learn from our mistakes, but it is no use in Britain constantly talking about how evil you know, people's ancestors were. There's no use, because what does it create? It creates a resentment to where you live, and people resenting their current situation don't tend to get far.
Also, the way I see it, right, is back then morals have developed throughout time. Back then, all that stuff was seen as relatively okay.
You know, how could such moral people like the Greeks enslave people? It's essentially just a product of the time. Yeah.
It's not, you know, that they were these inhumane people. Yeah, to our standards they were, but to them they were just normal. It was the norm, you know?
Yeah.
You can't... It's like, for instance, dyeing your hair in this generation, yeah? You didn't really, like, you know, dyeing it green or blue. I know this is a weird...
You don't really give a second thought about it. I think that's your point.
You don't give a second thought about it, but say you dyed your hair green 100 years ago. You would be, like, looked upon like you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
You know? It's like that, you know? It's just... It comes with the time. You know? It's the culture of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Yeah. Sounds good. Oh, by the way, we all strongly disagree.
Yeah, all strongly disagree. Our race has many superior qualities compared to other races.
I mean...
do you want me to start? What I'll say about this is a lot of people try to shimmy around this question and say there are superior traits in East Africans, for example. They can run the fastest. But a lot of people get very, very strange when they bring up mental capacity in this sense. People aren't afraid of saying Africans have physical advantages, and in East African cases that they of course do. In, you know, running, and East Asians, they don't sweat. They don't get BO, they sweat. But people get very, very dramatic when you talk about intellectual capacity, that it is easier for some to be smarter than others. You know what I mean? You know,
that's a good
genetically, you know, from generation to generation. Go on.
I would say that this question has said that race and ethnicity are the same things.
Not.
Yeah, no.
Race is much more big tent.
Yeah, and social. Like some, I like the example of a just an Asian. Someone that lives in South Korea is very different to someone that lives in
Nigeria.
Yeah, someone that lives in Kazakhstan.
Closer.
Yeah, and so it's different. It's a different. If you go by that, then you're right.
No, I still think culture has a great influence, but I do believe, genetically speaking, it's very hard to look past. You know, we're constantly talking about how genetics impact our free will and things like that.
Well, I mean,
stuff like that.
From the book I've read, *Sapiens*, from the bit I got to something called the cognitive revolution. So that's when we as a species started, you know, gaining a cognitive advantage. You know, no one knows why or how, but we just did. But I don't think there's any real big factors. But at the time, I think we all sort of, like, you know, evolved at the same rate. But I do think it's genetically, you know, like say your like parents, like your dad, for instance, you can see it from this way. Like say, you know, your parents were very physically active, you know, they had good metabolisms, all of that. You're more likely when you're born to have a better metabolism,
of course,
be more
your parents
physically
matter
healthy.
a great deal.
So I think it's more the culture.
Originally speaking, the culture.
Yeah. So I think it's more
point.
like the ethnicity. Say you came from, say you're Greek, right? You know, and say you come from a place where they had good education, you know, a good thing.
Yeah.
Your parents' brains, your grandparents' brain, you know, go up generations. Their brains have all been applied, all been worked, all been good. Where say you come from somewhere like Ethiopia, they don't have a very good education system. You haven't had your ancestors haven't had that brain, like the brain workout. So I do think it comes from genetics, you know, like
it's environment, because East Africa is very high. It's very high up, like it's very mountainous. So these long distance runners like Kipchoge all have a really high lung capacity, which means they can run for longer.
Geography.
It's environment.
So there's multiple factors that affect it.
All I'll say about this question is, it's almost, it is best to not really answer it, in the sense is there's an idea, the will to believe, and the will to believe is basically it's better to believe some things even if they possibly may be wrong, right? The earliest kind of what would you call it, incarnation of this idea would be Pascal's wager. But I would say it's best to not really think about races being inherently superior, as I think that muddies the waters. And so even if this question is true, it's just best not to address it and just work on your problems with the institutions, improving institutions. That's all about how a society improves through institutions. That's the whole premise of the book Why Nations Fail. But sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much.
You can talk. Podcast.
But I was about to say
that's a really good point. I would say. I was going to make a point. Now I've completely forgotten it.
The issue with this is it's all very poorly. There's quite some poorly worded questions. Like, you know, saying something superior isn't very good. You know, if you said there was like, you know, advantages to races or, you know, ethnicities, there is obviously. I wouldn't say, you know, one ethnicity or race is superior to the other. You know, they're all humans. They all have rights. You know, some qualities.
It's very dehumanizing.
Also, seeing how quality,
that's what I'm
like,
getting at there.
Obviously, you know, if you're into sports, right? But if you're like, obviously, if you are East African, that is a superior quality. But, you know, it also depends how you look at it, or if you're into intelligence, you know, something like maths, or literally going from somewhere,
East Asian,
European, somewhere like that, where they have a lot of that. Yeah, so I think it also depends on what qualities you're looking at and what qualities you prefer, because then that will make a superior quality.
I did put agree, but LP brings a very good point with it does come from this whole chain of cultures. So I'm not going to pretend like it's something which can't be improved upon. And that's what I mean by saying maybe we shouldn't ask this question. You know? That's my thing. So I put agree. What did everyone else put?
I put agree, but I think it's worded similar to the first question in that if one was to answer it, it wants you to have a certain outcome, because otherwise you seem a bit wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It makes you look more like authoritarian, like, you know, right-wing authoritarian than
racist.
What you mean to be.
Yeah, that's the
word. Next.
I disagree.
Enemy
with
of.
I'm sorry.
I need to read the question out.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Who wants to start?
I disagree with the question. look at Russia doesn't like China, for example.
Yeah, this is perfect.
But I don't like Russia, and I don't like China, because they're both bad. You don't need to. The idea of this question is just purely out of a betterment.
Yeah, purely out of a pragmatic sense of advancement. That's how I look at this question.
Yeah.
Also,
I go on. Actually.
I'll let you go. No, I'll let you go.
Okay. The way I look at this question is, then they never will be my friend. I disagree, but it is good to have these enemies fight against each other. Divide and conquer is the pragmatic axiom. So, for example, my two biggest enemies would be people who want the failure for Britain and anti-Semites, right? I can't stand either. And I'll use the anti-Semites example. Is so many of them disagree with each other. You have communists, Nazis, Christian nationalists, you name it. They can come from all extremes on the political spectrum. None of them will be my friend, but I acknowledge their usefulness, and I would hope they tear each other apart in some way. So I cannot strongly disagree, but they'll never be my friend. That's my point.
Yeah. What I had to say is, also with that ideology, it doesn't really work. Like, if you look, I'm quite into Cold War and stuff. So if you look at World War II, so if you look at for instance, when America joined the war, they didn't like the Nazis, and the Nazis didn't like Russia, so America and Russia became friends. What happened? 1945 August, Potsdam, right? Big conflict. Harry Truman hated communism. Just proves that even if you join together for a common enemy, relations can still go downhill. We've got real world examples of it. With Russia and America, they used to be really good friends during World War II. Who was the president during World War II? I can never remember his name. HippieBoi. Truman was afterwards. Who was before?
FDR. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, right? Roosevelt and Stalin were good friends because they didn't like the Nazis.
Yeah.
As soon as the Nazis were gone,
but it bit them in the long term.
Relationships just went horrible. And Truman obviously had a big part to play in that. But it just proves that even if an enemy has an enemy and then you band together to become friends, it doesn't guarantee your relationship secure. It can just still end just as badly or worse. So I don't think they should be your friends. You can work together if you want to get rid of the common enemy, but it's not going to exactly end well all the time.
Yeah.
Favorite example is the Sino-Soviet split. It's a good example. Anyway, I put disagree in this question.
Same. Just disagree for me. Okay, next question.
Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified.
Okay. I'll start with saying I'm no expert on international law, but I do find it interesting how we've universally come up with this set of laws which somehow Russia, China, the UK, the United States, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, all these different countries' cultures agree with. I just find it interesting, and I feel like nations don't even respect it in the first place. But I'll pass this over.
When you have like something that broad, where all these different cultures and stuff have to agree to it, obviously they're not gonna, respect it as much, because it's not tailored towards them. It's tailored towards a mean. It's like tailored sort of a mean moral, like mean sort of morals. Like in some cultures, and I don't know, what Papua New Guinea's morals are. They might think it's okay to attack civilians during war. War's war at the end of the day. People get hurt. I don't think you should really expect civilians not to get hurt during war. So at the end of the day, the whole aim of war is to hurt and weaken the other side. So if civilians get, I don't think you should target civilians, but I think if civilians get caught in the crossfire, I don't think that should be against the law because it's war. What did you expect to happen?
Yeah, that's it.
You're bombing a country.
You're better off just banning war, and I know what's more likely. There's millions of them wars before we ban war.
I would just add that I don't really much care for League of Legends Resolution 729 that says this country's bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect it.
Yeah, indeed. I don't really care about what the international law says. I kind of just care about public perception, and I would prefer international law, these kind of moralisms, not to represent it. Of course, I'd want countries to act as kind of moral as they can, but we know how hard that is in today's world, and virtue for a leader is extremely different to virtue of that of us citizens. So we must understand that precautions in war will be violent. Domestic policies may not be great for everyone, but this is ultimately pragmatism,
I'm not saying that we should be immoral during war. War is immoral in the first place, so I think you should try and keep your morals, some sense of morals, during war. I don't think you should go use chemical weapons. They're horrible. The
of course. I don't care for Agent Orange too much.
Like one of my great granddads was caught in a gas attack during World War One. I don't know if he lived or not. My granddad didn't tell me that part, but he was telling me that he got caught in multiple gas attacks and things like that. And it burns your lungs. Like if you read up on gas attacks and stuff, it burns your lungs and creates this awful feeling. So I don't think I think you should keep your morals as much as you can. Well, obviously, if you're going to war, it's an immoral act. Unless you follow the Thomas Aquinas doctrine, which is like war is justified in certain situations. And then I wouldn't say that's immoral, that's justified. I get it, but I think you should try and keep morals as much as possible. Having a big law that says isn't going to work because countries are going to break it, and then it's just going to cause
pointless.
It's going to cause unrest in the media.
That's a perfect example, actually. In fact,
worsen the war.
All these kind of sanctions against countries only hurt the people rather than the leadership. It
spreads up because if you think about it, right, focusing on all these crimes, it spreads ideologies. It also increases publicity on that country, so they might even be more likely to do it because all this media attention is giving them a reason to keep doing it. Because it's like, my country's finally on the map, Even with Russia, it gets them back on the map. They were sort of silent, they had a few news stories every now and then, but it's got them back on the map. It's got their relations. It's got them better relations with other countries because they're so politically centered now. With all this media,
right?
So giving them attention just worsens the war at the end of the day.
Right. I just put agree on this one.
I put agree.
I bet strongly agree.
Oh, I
Because,
didn't know you were that passionate.
No, but it's just like you can strongly justify immoral acts in war.
I didn't know you were into realpolitik and Henry Kissinger, but well, on to the next.
There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment.
Does that mean like fake news?
Yes, but from kind of the entertainment industry, think like basically TikTok, because that is in an entertainment.
No, I wouldn't say it's worrying.
Think real life.
I think it's definitely worrying.
I think as long as you fact check before you start spreading,
But bold of you to assume people would fact check.
But as long as, you know, if you get it from multiple sources, you know, and you do a bit of search, you know, like, because if I hear, oh, Russia's invaded this country on TikTok, you know, I'm gonna, you know, maybe wait a little bit to see if any more videos come up, and if another one does, then I might search it up. But, you know, I'm not going to trust any old random person I hear.
Do you think most people do that?
No, but I believe, you know...
There's a George Berkeley quote, and it's, few men think, yet all have opinions, right? And that's applicable to me. You know, I'm not this guy who thinks all the time. Well, I think all the time, but it's not always quality thoughts. But when we see TikToks or, you know, celebrities endorsing certain political candidates, the average person isn't so critically minded. They will just go with the flow and let the waves carry them. And I do think that's alarming. I don't think Hollywood celebrities or random twinks on the internet, you know, with a following, should really dictate what the masses think. Nor should I think the Big Brother should. But
this is,
you know, I do not care for what these kind of, I'm going to say it, plebs say. You know, they should stick their nose out, really.
But this is where I think good education on the about internet, you know, safety and stuff should come into play. Yeah, obviously, if, you know, you're in, like, you know, out of school, you just got to deal with it now. But hopefully, like, you know, I feel like the younger generation should be taught more about fact checking and stuff. So, because there you go.
No, sorry, it's me and Ollie. I showed Ollie this thing, and it's about British adverts. British adverts show an inverse reality of how the UK really is. Every white person, a white male, sorry, in British adverts is portrayed as a dope. And the British Army, there's an advert in the British Army where there is a Muslim doing his prayers, right? Not exactly, you know, to army standards, but here's the point: is there's been more Muslims who've joined ISIS than joined the British Army in the past, like, decade or something. Why do we need? Sorry, thank you. Why should this be there? You know, it's all to create some false reality. So I do believe that. You know, I do believe there is some programming done via entertainment, that being adverts. You know, they're showing an inverse reality.
Yeah, it's not purposeful of any one group. It's just there's no Big Brother controlling. It's just the way, I don't know how to explain it. It's just what's seen as
public engagement.
Yeah, I guess. Just trying to score props, I would say, is the way to say it. I don't think there's one specific guy out there that's going, hey, you need to put this many people in this advert. But it is definitely an issue.
I think it's quite subliminal, and it will get people thinking away from how reality actually is. Because if you see, you know, multiculturalism flourishing in adverts, you're not really going to give a second thought on, you know, the actuality, you know, in the here and now, you know.
Hey, James, please link this video in the description.
Yeah, I will.
You won't. James will.
James will, sorry. Jamie.
Why would you do the editing?
I don't know.
We hire.
Anyway, I put strongly agree. What did everyone else?
I put strongly agree.
I put agree.
Okay. I mean, this even boils down to so I'm going to say popular media, popular history. Just get. It's a lot easier to make something seem either worse or better.
Exactly. You know, and history is a perfect example, actually, because history, it's literally history. It's extremely long. And it's easy to make up a lie about history, like a certain, king, was black or something. I don't know. And you're gonna have to have someone who's actually knowledgeable to debunk you. And then again, not everyone's gonna care about you being debunked. We're not very critical naturally, so it is quite worrying that we could be brainwashed by literally anyone, anyone with a TikTok, anyone with an Instagram, I'm just gonna leave that there.
Okay, now to page 2.
Page 2.
This is
we're gonna be we gotta hurry this up, man. We spent half an hour on 6 questions.
All right.
Yeah.
The 6 pages.
All right, we'll get there.
And oh my god, the other pages are a lot more.
Stop being doomer.
Yeah.
I can't stay out that long, man. I got mocks.
The people are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. I'll go first. My answer to this one is strongly disagree. I share a lot more in common, traits such as media, language, food, history, with someone of, say, the middle or upper class of the UK.
With a British aristocrat.
Yes, than I do of someone from China that's even the same class as me.
Who's of the same social class.
Yeah.
No, perfect point is I don't believe conflicts in the Middle East are about class consciousness. I think they're about people who want to kill the minority. Case in point, I don't think the Kurds are oppressed because they are poor, because the people who help oppress them are also poor. They don't like them because they are Kurds. Simple. Also, I'm gonna give Jewish people in Germany is they largely assimilated into German culture after the Haskalah, the Jewish Enlightenment, and after Jews were given civil rights after Napoleon swept Europe, they were still viewed as the other because of different, a different history, different heritage. Even Jews who converted to Christianity were still scoffed at. So, I would say it has been human nature to acknowledge the other and not be too kind to the other. So, and it's not something that we can fix. It's not something we can legislate. It's just a reality. So
also, I think that classes are different per country.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a linear thing. For instance, say we got, Tajikistan, their lower class is a lot poorer than our lower class, and their upper class isn't nearly as rich as our upper class, Class isn't linear. What a poor person has, in a third world country, or, should say, LIC now, doesn't have near as much as what a lower class person would have in a HIC.
Majority world country, actually, at least get it right.
Oh, I've been told high income. I've been told high income country and low income country.
It's different terms. But some countries don't have as rigid of a class structure as even the UK. The UK's got a very rigid class structure. Even if one was to be from the working class and say they earned, 100 grand a year, they can still give. They could still be in the working class depending on things like language and food.
Yeah, it's a new money, old money thing. There. I think the moral of the story for me, is that countries are very different, and it has been countries which has divided us much more than class. The Middle East proves it, in my view.
That's a good case.
World War I.
Okay. I strongly disagree.
LP.
I strongly disagree.
Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment.
I disagree. I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think you can't control one thing without controlling the other. Like for instance, say with Germany hyperinflation, right? Inflation started, then unemployment started. By 1933, there were 6 million people unemployed. That's just the Great Depression. That's not even hyperinflation. But as soon as inflation started during the Great Depression, unemployment shot up, and so to control one, you have to control the other. Or to work on one, you have to try and fix the other at the same time. They go hand in hand.
That's a good point. There is a case that if you're at a certain level of unemployment, say the UK is at a level of unemployment of 2%, which is very low, it probably is better to control inflation than unemployment, because you'll never get 100% unemployment. But you're right, where they go hand in hand when one's high, the other probably is.
Yeah. My point. I won't add on much, but matters in institutions with getting employment, and the better the institutions, the better society functions. So, but I disagree there.
I disagree.
That was quite
strong.
Yeah. So we all just disagree there.
Yeah. I disagree.
Okay, that was quick. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation.
True. You agree?
I strongly agree here, to be honest.
I strongly agree.
I only agree. I don't strongly agree.
Dirty ways are cheaper and easier. Being clean costs more money, so corporations are less likely to do it.
There's little incentive for corporations to not make more money, So obviously the roadblock being the regulation is corruptible, and that is a massive problem. But
I do believe that there should be incentives for being environmental, like tax benefits,
That's under regulation, so
no, but that is under regulation. But I think that's an incentive for them. At the end of the day, I get that's a regulation, but at the end of the day, they're going to be less likely to exploit it if they've got to pay like 1% less on tax. It doesn't sound like a lot, but 1% adds up if you're a $1 billion company.
Normally, you'd do it the other way around. So, for example, like a carbon tax, you would tax the carbon going in instead of taxing the carbon they didn't make. It's just easier. But I only agree because private property was meant to protect the environment, but it doesn't. Like private land ownership, it doesn't. So I only agree. I don't strongly agree.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because you're thinking, from private property's original, purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. I strongly agree. Ollie agrees.
I strongly agree.
LP strongly agrees. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. I think Ollie would like to start here. I don't know if he would.
Quite exploitable. I'd say that.
Yeah, indeed. It subsidizes things. Like being lazy. It subsidizes being lazy. The idea that if we need something like food, water, well, we can just get it, right? Isn't that the theory?
Yeah. It doesn't take into account labour.
Yeah, labour. Well. I think it ignores a lot there.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's a quote of philosopher made to sound smart.
It's Marx.
And then Marx. Yeah, well, exactly. He really was quite smart.
It wasn't to sound smart. It was to sound altruistic. Like he truly cares, and convincing. Yeah, rhetoric has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you actually analyse it, there's not a lot there. It's just like fundamentally bad idea.
If you analyse it, you have to look at the logistics, how practical it is.
Yeah.
No society could run like that. It subsidises sloth, laziness.
I just need to try it one more time. Maybe it'll work.
Maybe it'll work. If you've got Have you got a pile of burning money for a moment?
It's a throwback to podcast episode 7.
Okay. Next question. We all strongly disagree there?
I strongly disagree.
I strongly disagree.
Three of the market, the three of the people.
Disagree.
Really? I strongly agree at this point.
I think it. No, because the way I see it is it can lead to a lot of corruption and exploitation. Because, at the end of the day, the people are freer. But if you've got a free market, people are more likely to, the rich are more likely to own that free market and have more control and then repress the poor's ability to be freer. So fundamentally, idealistically, it should have freer people. If you look at it in the way, economically with the richer, because wealth isn't even, if wealth was all even, you'd have freer people. But wealth's not, it can actually hinder the poor,
I just agree with this. It's a sad truth that we can leave a market to oligarchs, and from like a libertarian ANCAP perspective, I don't know how you counter an oligarchy. I don't know. So I don't know. I just agree. Go on.
The point of corruption and oligarchs suggests that if you look at it from purely an ANCAP perspective, as you said, that there wouldn't be corruption because there's nothing to be corrupted. Because obviously you have freedom of association. But then I would say that monopolies aren't natural and are mostly government-made, apart from situations where there's like, I don't know, one area, for example, that spawns all the salmons or something, and you control the salmons.
You own the salmon.
Yeah. I strongly agree. The free of the market, the free of the people, as a basic.
Okay, so LP, you disagree?
Yeah.
I just agree, Ollie.
I think it depends, but I think idealistically that's true, but in practice it can lead to less freeness. I'm not saying communism's near is better. It's the best. Capitalism is good, but
that's no
still
market,
not.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I disagree. I think that it obviously has a market, has a purpose, and any product that does so is an effective product that people like and people only buy because it serves a purpose. In this case, it's the purpose of convenience. Obviously, they're not. So the water isn't the commodity. The plastic bottle is, and the convenience of that.
I mean,
you
could also argue the water is, because at the end of the day, I might be like one of those weirdos, but different brands of water have different tastes. So
that's just
some people buy the water for the taste. Like some people really don't like the taste of tap water, so they buy the bottled water because it tastes better to them. It's just another option. Although it's water, it's still got different, different minerals in, and all of that.
You leaned into my point. Is their competition is my main angle. Well, how do things work best is when they have something going up against them, an incentive to do better, to make better water, to have more customers. And usually when, let's just say, the state owned and sells the water, there's no incentive really to
make it good,
to make it better, to make it the best. They can make it as sloppy as possible and people would still buy it because why? They're the only option, and they could also make it very expensive. Whereas the competition, a free market, is they have to be as fair a price as possible, and they have to be as high quality as possible. So that's the free market just kind of being quite beautiful there, and this can apply to other products than just water. But in principle, as a philosophical question, I wish it wasn't, but from a practical perspective, no, I disagree.
Also, it can lead to a lot of other cool things, you know? Like, it can lead to a lot of things like black water, that's cool, you know? It can lead to little niche products.
There's a quote that I like here, and that's, imagine if the state made the iPhone. And obviously, anyone that thinks about that would think that it probably wouldn't be as good as us.
Yeah, it'd probably be a tad bit more limited. Yeah. Also, my point, there's a chapter about it in the Road to Serfdom as well. Next question. Where did we all land? I just landed on disagree.
I landed disagree.
Ollie was strongly disagree as well?
Yeah,
fair enough. My reservations are purely from a philosophical perspective.
Yeah, may say.
Okay. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold.
You should go first, Hippie. You haven't gone first a lot.
I disagree. I believe, literally, how the hell would communism work? As in, communes, as in, there is no private property. I believe that's ridiculous. Strongly disagree for me.
It's a strongly disagree for me, but that's because, as you said about incentive, what incentive do you have to make land better if
it's your own? Actually, I wish I got onto this chapter of a book. I was reading The Need for Roots, and the woman is like a kind of Christian mystic who wrote it, but she said something like a spiritual need for private property, something that is more dear to yourself, and incentive, of course, is part of it. I wish I could speak more about it, but Ollie, take the floor, but I interrupted.
Oh, this person's been Simone Weil.
Yeah.
Wait, been person of the day before. Oh. Very nice.
Oh no, sorry, I interrupted you in your point about incentives.
That's my whole point. If you have no purpose to make land better for it to be bought or sold, then there's the purpose of it being bought or sold is there to make it better for when, because land is equal, obviously. There wouldn't be a city where the city was for no reason. Anyway, Chode?
Sorry, where would I disagree. I think you should, you should be able to. Free market is, at the end of the day, best, Also, imagine, the architectural standards of just government. It'd be cheap building. Being able to buy land makes places nice, and beautiful.
It makes them better.
Like, if you look at communism, ex-communist countries, right? It's all concrete, apartment blocks because it was cheap and practical.
Whereas,
and some could argue, absolutism, isn't it called, or something like that, or brutalism, architecture is quite nice. You could argue there's a time and a place for it, but I think it makes places look ugly. Cities look ugly with it, and towns look. It creates a country that looks negative.
Yeah, exactly. With private property, you can carve identity out of it. Public.
Yeah.
You're catering to a whole lot of people. You gotta have private. It's to sustain your own needs. Next question. I strongly disagree. Where does everyone land?
It's regrettable that many people's fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate
where does
money.
everyone land on the last one? Strongly disagree.
Oh,
I strongly disagree.
Okay.
Strongly disagree.
Next question. LP, you're reading it. Take the floor.
Okay. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I agree with this.
Yeah, same.
only one person got jailed in 2008. Everyone else got bankrolled by the government, which is awful that someone made so many people's lives. It just made them, people kill themselves in some cases.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
It's absolutely awful what some people do. And nobody should, just for a personal fortune, screw over loads of people.
It's like, for instance, like you said with 2008, it's like the Great Depression in America, right? It all started with a rumour that people were going to the rich were going to start removing their money. So a bunch of people did, and it got to a point where they had to block up the elevators on Wall Street because stockbrokers were jumping off the side of the buildings. So if
you can make a situation that dire as just one individual or a little group, it's just not on.
That's so, and the fact that government decided to bankroll as well. Anyway, I agree on this point.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Not strongly, just because I don't know how legislation would work. Next question.
Yes. Protection. Okay.
No, go.
Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade.
That's where you protect yourself and your goods and stuff.
Putting in legislation that makes it so other countries' imports aren't as trying to make your manufacturing better than everybody else's, or your services, or something that your country makes is better.
Yeah, that's good.
No,
I agree.
No, making it harder for other countries to trade, basically.
Oh, okay.
But the idea is to make your commodities.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it, but we gotta think logistics. So.
Yeah. It's just
because this is the driving idea behind Brexit, LP.
Yeah.
Brexit was not very good, so I'm going to disagree.
Okay. I would say that obviously tariffs aren't good. I don't agree with tariffs. And in many cases, there's just not. It's never worth it because companies find loopholes all the time, and it's unless you are the biggest market, it's usually not worth it because generally you don't have the same strengths in those sectors that, for example, the UK service-based economy, we aren't going to be going back to manufacturing anytime soon because of our education levels, so it's just not worth it in most cases.
I agree to this one, just because I would like ideally and I think it can be done that we make quality as products.
That's
true. Encouraged. And from a personal perspective, we as people, if we wanted this to be done, we would have to do this ourselves by buying the British products as well. So, LP,
you can. Okay.
Just you take it, NLP.
I don't really have a point to add. I'm just announcing that in 15 minutes I'm gonna have to cut my role in this podcast.
Should we finish to the end of this section, as in section 2?
Yeah.
And then. Okay.
And then what we can do is we can screenshot take photos of our answers and come back to it at a later date.
Yeah. Okay. I would just like to add that the best way to do this is probably from a national security standpoint. So saying, for example, with British Steel, we don't make any steel anymore, which is a bad thing because we need steel to make tanks and stuff. So we should try and protect our steel industry, which didn't happen. But that's just the best way to look at it. Obviously, it's better in war to make everything yourself, but that's just with globalism, it's not a thing anymore. So I'm going to agree. Only because if
you swayed me, Ollie. You swayed me.
Only because of war, but if you're not, then it's probably better to do the whole globalism stuff. globalization stuff.
Also, globalization creates good, allies. If you've got a good trade, they're more likely to defend you and protect you.
Well, that's the whole point. But we've seen with Ukraine that it doesn't always work.
The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Strongly disagree with this.
I disagree, but legally, the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't even say now legally.
No, that's the answer.
Wait.
No.
One, the only social responsibility for a company should be to deliver profit to its shareholders.
I wouldn't even say legally.
Yeah, I strongly disagree on this one.
I strongly disagree. I wouldn't even say legally yes anymore. There's so much legislation that, social responsibility also involves the environment now.
Yeah.
A company has to be environmentally friendly.
I don't want companies creating unrest, actually. Political, environmental, you name it.
Yeah.
I'd say that even legally, it's not just they have to provide a profit. Legally, they also have to hold up to government regulations. So, it's not their only thing they have to worry about, and it shouldn't be their only.
Legally, they have to, though, provide.
No, I'm not saying legally I'm not saying, it's like they don't. Obviously, they do. Mm-hmm. But I believe legally there are other things as well that are key social responsibilities.
Yeah, obviously. The environmental regulations probably trump that.
Yeah. The rich.
But the word social, I kind of ignored it.
Yeah. I strongly disagree.
I disagree.
I strongly disagree. I could lean towards just disagree, just because, again, I keep on saying this, but I'm not an expert on legislation. Next up.
Yeah.
The
rich are
the rich are too highly taxed.
Disagree.
Used to be a neutral option.
I mean,
I think they.
Do you want me to say my point?
They're fairly taxed, no? Don't they pay an
I mean,
50%.
Okay, yeah, no. I think there should be an even higher tax bracket though.
Really?
No, for the ultra, like not higher. I feel like for the ultra rich though,
they don't pay taxes.
Exactly, but there should be ways to get them back paying taxes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Doing dividends and all this shit, and shareholding and other things.
Well, the problem is, they pay a tax, but not to the government. To some random guy.
Yeah.
Also, like I've got this thing. I can't remember what company it was, right? But they have their main. So I can't remember what company it is, but they have their main office in a country where tax for the rich, right, and tax for businesses, like, is something like 5%. So, what they did, right, is whatever profits, they earn, it goes straight to their headquarters, that's set up in this poor country. Then they only get taxed a little bit. The country's obviously getting a bit of wealth, but then they get to keep most of their profits. So they do pay tax, but just not enough because they find loopholes.
The whole point of like the Cayman Islands or like Ireland. Ireland's entire economy is propped up by 26 companies. Apple's one of them. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
I don't agree with taxation. I would probably put agree because I don't think that the government should take 50% of anyone's wealth, money, which is the highest tax bracket. If you go off, it depends what the rich are. Are the rich the ultra rich that are earning millions, or is the rich someone that's earning over 100 grand a year? Because they're pretty rich, but they're not the richest.
Yeah, I think there should be like a bit like, if you're ultra wealthy, there should be extra social responsibilities that come with it. Like.
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying they have to like go out their way, to do shit, or they have to participate in volunteering or something like that. But I think they should they should have to like put part of their money to somewhere where it could benefit the country more.
I think that's the point of trust.
I prefer low tax, and Hayek brings up Road to Serfdom actually, how tyrannical a kind of socialist tax would be. Is they're so unpredictable, and they're so driven by kind of ulterior motivations, like for the good of the economy, and great kind of countries, Singapore, Liechtenstein, they have low taxes, and the people are quite wealthy. So if we're presupposing tax is a thing, I don't have as big as an issue with taxes as Ollie, as much as it's low, as if it's low for the public good. But low tax. But I agree.
I agree, but I
agree.
But whatever you want. It's the easy answer is to just say yeah, because you want money for the government, but if you it depends. Again, very poor question. What does rich mean?
Yeah,
what does
rich?
What does highly mean? It's
all very abstract. Those with the ability to pay. Let's be a little short with this one because we basically did this last podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I guess I strongly agree, right?
I strongly agree.
I strongly agree.
I think it also helps the NHS as well. If you're not
not plugging the line, basically what we said last time.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
That one was easy.
I strongly agree. Government should penalise businesses that mislead the public.
Yeah. Fake news.
There'd be a lot of
there would be a lot of penalisations.
Yeah. I'm not saying a high fine. I'm just saying, if it's something minor, like how now crisp packets, if you get like their max sort of like flavour crisp Walkers, it says not actual size on the crisp. Like I think misleading, you sort of got to
the word
define it a bit more.
I agree
because
with that a lot.
Like for instance, if you obviously know if you get that crisp packet, the crisp is not going to be that size. That's not misleading, that's called common sense. But say you you buy a pair of shoes and it's like these shoes can make you 5 miles per hour quicker, while running.
Yeah.
But like I know that's a bit outlandish, but say there's a product like that was like, oh, this would do that, then that is misleading because you're literally false advertising by saying it will cause this to happen, and that's is just wrong.
There's a lot of different ways that you just can read it. Like, for example,
go on.
If it's just, for example, they neglected to mention that, okay, it wasn't 20 times faster, it was only, you say they said it was 20 times faster and it was only 15 times faster. That shouldn't be grounds for let's sanction them to the high hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Indeed. I'm thinking more about, just general harm rather than hey, we're just the best, our deals and so on and so forth. I don't know. I feel like we already do, and I think
it's good.
I think it's good we do.
I'm going to agree just because
I agree in principle.
But
also,
I think you need to define mislead more though.
Yeah.
of
Because
course,
some people get misleaded by the most simple things, like hey, there's gullible in the ceiling. You're still being misled.
We're thinking about
that's
severity,
just called common sense.
The consequence.
I think lying's bad, so I'm going to agree.
Yeah.
But it's.
Yeah, no.
it's not the worst thing that's ever
no,
happened.
the law in general is based off consequence, really. And you know, lying isn't against the law, because how the hell are we gonna regulate that? We can't.
Yeah.
So I'd say what is suitable is likely already in the law. Maybe missing some things, but no, I agree this is workable. So I agree with the question in principle and practice.
Yeah.
So we all agree there?
I agree.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree.
Okay,
A
last question of the segment, and it'll be chopped up. Who wants to read?
I'll read out. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies.
Okay.
Where do you want to go start?
I didn't get a word of that. Genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator market. Does that mean like people from other countries?
Companies.
Other
They can
other
come from
companies.
other countries, but in general,
Yeah.
you know, in generality, in general,
So other companies making more like monopolies.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I think you should. If it's free, you should be able to make as many monopolies as you want. Like I said earlier, it can repress the poor and repress other companies and stuff. But if it's a free market, you should be allowed to do it, because then it stops becoming free. If you're limited.
Yeah, no, I think the premise of the question is that a free market does do that, therefore it shouldn't. There should be restrictions on that.
A monopoly kind of contradicts the free market in my mind. Of course,
it does.
Yeah, like it kind of, as pointed out with my Hayek example, is it stops competition and sloppiness is bred out of that, and that's bad.
The predator multinationals, it talks of, would probably be government companies from other countries, which I'd be worried about.
Yeah,
for example, say Qatar, or some oil company from Venezuela or something. I would probably be more worried about that, or I don't know,
Englishman,
Scottishman. Or any other country that is, or just a company that's just ran from a different country, but not necessarily owned by that government.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, a Chinese company owning our steel isn't good.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect example, because Qatari companies, because Qatar basically is a tyranny, let's be honest. That's bad, having a tyranny influencing, the production of certain goods. That's terrible. And a tyranny that is not even, literally supports terrorist organisations designated by the UK. That's terrible, and I definitely think there should be restrictions there.
Yes, I would say that goes out of the scope of the question when it says free market, because that's not a free market company. That's a government-run organisation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about, I don't know, Al Jazeera or China Steel, so I would say, in a genuine free market, I disagree.
Right.
But in a real-world example where you have other countries that do that, I would agree.
I strongly agree with this.
Right. As this it, and I put disagree, because genuine free market, you should be able to do what you want, but like what you said. But it says genuine free market, so I have to put disagree.
Screenshot my answers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna screenshot, because I'll never find them on my files. I'm just gonna take photos.
Okay.
Ollie, can I send them to you on Snap?
Yeah, we are back.
Hello.
From our short break. It was only like 5 minutes in real time. We just thinking, joking. It's been 4 days. Okay, who wants to? 4 days. Something like 3. All right, who wants to read this question?
Can I? I haven't read many questions.
Sure. And do you want to answer it as well first?
Yeah, okay, I'll go for it. Abortion when the woman's life is not threatened should always be illegal. I disagree with this.
Okay.
It's not a strongly disagree, I could be swayed, but I do believe it, woman's body, woman's choice at the end of the day.
Okay.
I'm on the side of LP on this one, I think. I couldn't tell. I mean, I could definitely tell one what to do, but I couldn't tell one what to do. But
Yeah.
Okay. My whole thing is from a pragmatic aspect. I kind of hate abortion, really. In fact, I would never want a partner to get into this situation. I wouldn't have sex for the fun of it without a condom. But it is a fact that when there is less abortion, when abortion is not an option, there is more crime because there's more unwanted young. And I want children to be born into loving homes who are ready to raise a child. So if abortion is a key to society flourishing, I think it's a key we must have. So I disagree, but I don't think that I don't think that we should have people just having sex for the fun of it.
No.
Yeah.
I agree in the sense that I don't think it's necessarily a good thing in the sense that if you have sex and you get pregnant, unless you're I think if you're a teen, I feel like there's different stages. So if you're a teenager, have sex and stuff, say you're 15, 16, 17 at a push, I think that can ruin your whole life.
Oh, it does ruin your whole life.
Yeah. So I think then an abortion is acceptable.
Indeed. Yeah, no.
But then I think when you're in your 20s, 30s, if you have sex and you get pregnant, as long as you're financially stable and stuff, you've got a house and stuff, and you've got the capabilities to, live with a child, and it will grow up in a good life, then I think you shouldn't get an abortion.
Yeah, no, I think it should be a option.
Yeah,
but
it should always be an option.
Like Bill Clinton said, it should be available but rare.
Thanks, Bill Clinton.
I'm paraphrasing as well. Sorry.
The argument against this would be though that you just don't want disadvantaged people to have children. That would probably be the argument.
Yeah.
Which seems slightly wrong.
I want them to get to a point where they are advantaged.
Yeah.
And ready.
I've had this discussion with people before, and that's normally what they say.
Yeah.
Which is
but I only disagree to this question because I don't like abortion, but I see it as necessary in combating crime.
It's obviously it's not a nice thing, if you look at the way the procedures are done, they're obviously very much over, I don't know, when because I go to a Catholic school and stuff, when I was being taught about abortion, it was put in a way more negative light than it actually was. The way they described it and stuff, they horrified it and scaremongered it way more than it actually is. Because as long as you get an abortion before the baby's properly developing, it's actually quite a simple procedure, and it's not too much strain on the body.
I don't support any of the 24-week garbage. Of course.
I like how there's a limit, but if you get it from up to 13, 14 weeks is when it's the safest. That's after that it can become a bit dangerous. But if you get it from that point, it's relatively safe, and not gruesome at all. They come in with a little vacuum. Obviously, it's not nice, but it's just sucking it out practically.
You can just. I know someone who had an abortion actually, and they did it while they were at work. And they got the day off afterwards, the time afterwards. But they just had these.
Thank God.
And they seemed seem somewhat normal. That's scarily normal, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I don't believe that you should have an abortion once the baby's got nerves and a brain and stuff. Then that becomes immoral and disgusting and things like that.
Having like a line is not something I'm going to decide on, because I don't know shit, so I'm not going to...
Yeah.
You
know, suddenly everyone becomes a scientist when talking about an abortion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just believe when they can... I think it becomes bad when they can start feeling things.
I don't know whether they can do that, so...
I don't know. I only disagree to this question. Where do you guys land?
I disagree.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay, we all just disagree. All authority should be questioned.
I started last time. You can start, Hippie.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah,
I do agree. All authority should be questioned. I mean, who is the father of Western thought? Socrates. His whole shtick was questioning everything and everyone, and it should be no different to authority, because, well, they have the most power. We should know what their intentions are and how deep their knowledge goes. We must know how competent the people who rule us are, and the one of the greatest minds, the guy who kick-started Western thought, that was his whole thing. So I absolutely agree that all authority should be questioned.
I also agree, because when I was thinking about this question, I couldn't think of an example where it wouldn't be acceptable to question authority. I was thinking, maybe your parents, but no, that's totally fine. I was thinking, leader of the country.
We should know why people do the things they do, and of course that should be no different to any, body of authority.
Yeah, it's just good for protecting people, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think all authority should be questioned, and I feel like some should go to more certain extents. Like,
I think I know where you're getting at, but go on.
Like, say, you've got some insane governmental figure. You're going to want to question that a lot more than a paramedic who's helping.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, no, we should be a little more trusting of doctors, than, bureaucrats,
Yeah. I think their competence should show how much you question them. Obviously, if they're in a job where they specialise in helping the sick, you probably don't need to question them as much as some old man who got into politics 10 years ago.
You need to question them.
Yeah, you still need to question them. Obviously, they could be a terrible doctor, but I feel like the level of questioning and inquiry should be a lot less than some big governmental figure.
Yeah, it'll be less. It depends how much they affect your life.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Obviously, butterfly effect. If you don't question them, they could do a horrible thing if they're affecting your life.
Mm-hmm. I just agree to this question.
Yeah,
I also just agree.
Okay.
I'll argue this one. So, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I agree with this question. I think it's kind of reasonable. It comes across as somewhat vengeful, I guess. But if you've been wronged, then
you have a right to get back. Yeah. Okay, I have a different perspective. I do agree to this question, but I disagree with when it comes to this test, because I think that the gangster code on the street has always been an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, in terms of, well, you've done this to me, I will act and it will be physical. When I don't think that is the true principle of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I believe that is done through legal means, monetary means, not, you know, just punching a guy in the face back. Though I think you should, if you know you're punched in public. But what I mean is, if everyone, you know, abided by this principle, right? You know, if you wrong me even slightly, I will attack you physically back. That is a terrible society. That is a lawless society. So I take this question legally, and I disagree.
That's a good point. I'll let LP while I process that.
I agree with Hippie that, you know, an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth is good, but I don't think it should be literally an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, obviously.
Yeah, I disagree with the literal interpretation.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, you could do, like, for instance, prison is technically an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, because you're still getting vengeance and justification, just not in the same form. I think you should always get justification and, you know, vengeance, but not, you know, if they kill someone, you kill them. I just think it should teach them a lesson enough to the point where you're still getting justice, but you're not becoming immoral yourself.
Obviously, it depends on circumstance, but I don't know. The whole death penalty thing kind of warmed up on me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I've always...
The whole murder thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree with the death penalty. That question will come up, but
yeah, I agree to it with a certain point. With a certain
okay. I just disagree to this question.
Yeah, I agree for the concept, but not literally an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
So where do you land?
Agree, but it's just because I agree with the concept.
Okay. And Ollie agrees too.
Yes.
Okay. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theatres or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis.
Disagree. Strongly disagree.
You strongly disagree?
The reason why taxpayers pay it is because it's so then we can all go in there and get educated, so we know about history and we learn.
My counter to that is how many people actually do that, though. You know.
I know quite a few, like, you know, not many. If you don't live in London, that's one of the things you do when you go to London. I'm not saying they go every day.
Yeah.
But
do you think the foot traffic in, say, the British Museum or the National History Museum is enough to prop it up? Because I think if they did charge, they probably charge quite a lot.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. But the reason it's free is so anyone can go in. I admit, you know, and also, just I think of it in just the upkeep as well. Like, you can think about the foot traffic, but the size of the buildings, the actual storage for some of the artifacts, they haven't even got on display, you know. Some things have to be kept in such perfect sort of like conditions that, you know, right humidity, right temperature, right light and stuff like that. So I do think we should be paying for it, because at the end of the day, when you go to London, if you don't live in London, like, it tends to be a thing where if you live somewhere, you don't do the interesting things. If you don't live there, when you go there, you do all the fun things. So, well, if you don't live in London and you go to London, what's one of the things you're going to do? You're going to go to the museums, if you're spending a few days there.
I disagree with someone being forced to give up their money
for a museum
that they might not have any interest in, when museums can definitely work, as we see in America quite a bit, without having
a
taxpayer for someone who's my tax is quite clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're an anti-tax type of guy. I'm you know, it's hard to say, you know, you're pro-tax without feeling quite disgusted with yourself, but I agree with the tax, but based on kind of, you know, essential upkeep, and I don't bind museums or theatres essential upkeep.
Yeah. Societies exist as well for this exact reason. Societies can charge thousands of members or get perks and do
like
stuff.
The National Trust, like that.
The National Trust is a really good example.
Yeah, they pay. You have to pay a yearly subscription, but you get to visit all the houses.
Yeah.
And forests and stuff.
A good example is like local family history society. They do really well, actually, and they provide a really good service for anyone that wants to know the family history.
I think it's also like a tourism thing though, because like at the end of the day, if it's free, tourists are going to go in there and want to see these things, and
Tourists
then
don't care about money as much as
obviously not, but like I think if it's more free, it seems more appealing to them to go. Oh, let's go see. What's that stone called? I can't remember. I always can't remember the stone.
Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, the Rosetta Stone. It's like, a tourist is going to go, oh, it's free, let's go see, if they're Egyptian or something, they'll think, oh, the Rosetta Stone's cool, let's go see it. That's part of our culture. So I think it's also good that it's free, because we've got a lot of other countries' cultures in our museums. And if we started charging tourists to see their own culture that we've taken, I think that can get a bit immoral.
I think they hate our country to begin with, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we should charge them for that reason. But no. The idea that because it's more part of our culture. Take the Rosetta Stone for example. The Egyptians use it as building material for 2,000 years before we found it. Well, the French actually found it. So, I mean,
I agree to this question.
I agree as well to this question. But I would somewhat strongly agree.
I put disagree, because I think it's, creates culture.
Okay.
And
I understand your point on getting educated, but I can see there is a concern on the other now. To be honest with you, the idea of museum is to preserve these artifacts, and that costs quite a lot of money. That anyone that doesn't, you shouldn't be forced to have to pay for something that you might not even use or don't even have an interest in. I think that's moral. So that's my justification.
Okay.
Yeah, but also, let me add one point.
It's fine.
Museums also do a lot more than just show off things. They do a lot of research, museums. You're also paying for archaeological research, scientific research and stuff. In most museums, they've got like people working to discover things and to add to the museum through scientific advancements and stuff. But you're not just paying for the museum itself, you're paying for the science behind it, all the things you don't see, but they are making a difference.
Yeah, but again, I shouldn't have to be forced to pay for it. Anyway,
Alright, gentlemen, we're getting into the tax debate a bit earlier.
Okay. What is the tax debate?
I don't know. I don't even know. But hey,
I've already gone through the norms and stuff. Anyway, yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Who wants to read it?
Can I read it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I, disagree with this. I think it should all be compulsory.
Okay. Fair point.
Because I think
I agree as well with you.
Well, I thought you were going to go a minor route, but I think you should all be well educated going into adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that you should have to go into university and stuff, or do maths and English till you're 18 if you really don't want to. If it's not your thing, when you turn 18 and you're 16, you can get an apprenticeship doing what you want. I don't think you should be made to do maths and English, but I do believe that you should go into adulthood with a pretty good education, because people go, oh, when am I ever going to use? Not about using it, it's about the ability to use your mind.
Yeah, quite right.
It's not about, because that's what my teachers say, and I do agree with them. It's not about quadratic formula. It's not like you're ever going to probably
it's about
use
being
that
able to apply your mind well.
Yeah, it's about training your mind for adulthood, for when you're in a job where you need to apply your mind, and I do believe that you should be made to go to school for that, because my granddad didn't go to school. He's illiterate, you know. He worked as a builder. You can do well not going to school, but I don't think it gives you a good chance of successfulness.
Yeah, success.
And I just think it's very good.
I agree. I don't strongly agree, but I agree. I think that it exposes you to a lot of different subjects that you might not have liked anyway, which is why I like it.
So you agree that it shouldn't be compulsory? Or
No,
you
no,
agree with LP? Because I agree with LP.
It should be compulsory
Yeah.
for the reason that it allows you to think more than and discover things that you wouldn't otherwise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd have no interest in what I do now if it wasn't for school.
Yeah. It also just creates a better society, because let's face it, you know, a lot of parents, a lot of poor families are just going to go, oh, well, you know, we need you to work and earn money, like they did in Victorian times.
Let's just take it this way. The societies where children don't go to school, they don't do good. So
Yeah.
I think we should make kids go to school. And it may annoy them, but it is for their betterment.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Ooh, okay, this is a controversial one.
Wait. What did we all answer on this question?
I put disagree.
I put disagree.
I put disagree, but I don't know what's stopping me from putting strongly.
Yeah, no, neither. I think it's just, you can look at it in another economical way of, you know, poor families and stuff, you know, if they really need the money.
It
can
it's
be
slightly
better.
authoritarian, but it's
Yeah.
alright.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Ollie, you wanted to read this question?
Yeah. I don't want to answer it first, but I do want to agree with it.
Okay. I'll answer it first.
Okay. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. Yeah, very rough day.
Okay, I'll take it away.
You go first, because I feel like you might have the most controversial.
You think I'm racist now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's not a question of it's better for all of us to, you know. Wait, let me just read it.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
better for different sorts of people. People should stick to their own kind. I don't think it's people should stick to their own kind. People do stick to their own kind. People flock to people who they perceive. You know, people flock to similar people who they perceive to have comparable lifestyles. As you see it all the time. That you can take this as in not just a, you know, a different people's context, but also a class context. You know, bankers will hang out with fellow bankers, right?
Yeah.
And plumbers will hang out with fellow plumbers. You know, people of the same economic backgrounds, but also of the same ethnic backgrounds. I found people feel more comfortable, and I will give an example from personal experience, but people flock to other people who appear more similar to them. You know, it wasn't long ago, the thought just came to me is, you know, people band with, and I don't think this should be the case, but it is the case. People do band to people of the same race. I'm not saying they should, but they do. Black people do hang out with black people.
Yeah.
Pakistani people do hang out with fellow Pakistanis.
My friend group is largely Indian, so I'm the only white people there, you know. And it is very true that, you know, the Indian people did go towards the Indian people.
Yeah,
you know,
people hang out with people who they find to have, you know, who they feel are, you know, comparable to them. It's a reality.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think you can see it a lot here with different areas, enclaves.
Yeah, there are areas which have basically seceded. You know, because they have their own kind of system going on. You know, it's not it's kind of not in Britain's reach.
Yeah, we see this. There's different neighborhoods with different people. It's not a case of should. It's a case of it does happen.
It happens, you know. It's cultural and it's economic, I find, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have you wouldn't have rich people, you know, live in the slums, you know.
Yeah.
No.
They wouldn't
live
hang
with
out.
other
They wouldn't
people.
hang out with, you know, a plumber. You know, a banker wouldn't hang out with a plumber.
Jamie,
Well, they
put that
might,
one
but you know they.
image. Go on.
Well, they might because like obviously you know some people don't care about wealth. You know, like
Yeah.
I know
Yeah, but most
but-
cases.
most cases, obviously.
Also, what image
But,
should Jamie pull up?
Jamie, put that one image that everyone did in.
Yeah, how did
Yeah.
I know you were thinking of that image?
Yeah, it's a good image. The Brazil's
Yeah.
that's next to the rich hotel, please, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah. But no, I'm fine, you know, with people being friends with other races. In fact, I am friends with people of other races.
Oh my
you know?
god, are you?
You know, oh, you know,
Jamie
I'm
doesn't
actually,
count.
you know, I'm of a, you know, I'm not 100% English, you know, but I hang out with, I'm
No
hanging
one
out
is,
with two,
really.
you know, Englishmen, you know, so
I'm not 100% English.
you know, well, you get my point, you know, but
Yeah. No.
I'm, you know, people hang out with, you know, fellow people who share the same culture and subculture. You know, I'd call myself culturally British, and I hang out, you know, online in this case, with two culturally British people, you know, so people they do stick to their own kind, and you can't force them to. So
Yeah.
people will be friends with people from outside. That's fine. It doesn't bother me, but I'm just gonna agree because I'm gonna agree to this question still,
I've also agreed to this question.
because it's just a matter of people do, and people are naturally divided because we're different.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that go into that. There's the economic factors play a part, but then just the psychology, social aspect of it. Just
I don't agree with Hippie's interpretation of this question, though. They do, but this is saying should they? Like, do you think if you had the option, you could, you know, force black people to hang out with black people, you know, and white people to hang out with white people? That's what the question's asking. If you had the option to.
I would ask, if you pose this question to everybody in a way, would you rather do this or do that? You know, would you rather hang out with these people or those people? What do you think most would say?
I'd hang out with the people who are more comparable to my own lifestyle.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's saying, you know, should they? It's not saying do that.
I think they
it's like,
should.
you know,
I think they should because of cooperation.
If
I
most people
disagree
find it,
though.
if most people find that they would, there's definitely a reason for it. So
Yeah.
you know.
No, people should hang out with who they like. Freedom of association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big up freedom of association.
I'm putting disagree because I do think,
It's fair.
you know, like,
My interpretation is
should-
quite
we should-
cold, and you know,
yeah.
it's not positive by
'cause-
any means.
At my school's really multicultural, and no friend group
Mine
is
is.
fully white.
Yeah, mine is.
Like,
No, it's not.
my whole friend group is like, you know, Africans, Indians, and a
Yeah,
couple
no,
of
my
Chinese.
friends are Hong Kongers, Pakistani, and English.
Exactly, and like, I don't think, you know, they should keep to their own kind. Like, obviously, the large portion
I
of
don't
my
think they
friend
have
group is
to.
Indian. But yeah, they don't have to. And I don't think they should, you know.
No one's
India.
forced. Exactly. Well, I mean, people have in the past, obviously, but no one
I think
is forcing them.
I think as long as you get along, you know,
Mhm.
who cares? Like,
But
you know?
I agree with this question. Hang out with who you find good.
Also,
Right. Hippie, you can read the next question.
Okay.
you read that question.
I'll read it again.
Oh,
fine.
no, I can read this
Okay,
question.
you read
if
it.
want.
Alright, so
Yeah.
I agree, Ollie agrees, and
I agree.
LP disagrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine because we allow freedom of speech with free disagree. So
Okay.
it's fine. It's fine.
I wanna fuck up LP for disagreeing with that.
Fine.
Okay, LP,
I'm
read
just
the
gonna
next
get kicked from the call now.
Okay.
No more recording.
Read the next question.
give me a second. No, so I put good parents. Good parents sometimes spank their children. I put disagree.
Okay.
Well, I'm putting disagree.
Okay.
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree.
Because I don't think you should spank. I think, you know, if a child bites you, give them a little bite to,
What?
you know, like
A bite?
say like because like when they're like a bite, like so say you've got like a 3-year-old, you know, it's attacking you. It might try and bite you in the arm or something.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you give it like a little light bite, just to say, oh, you know, this
What about a
hurts.
slap? What about a friggin' slap, not a bite?
No, I don't think we should bite children.
No.
It's
You don't
just
bite
like
them, but
he doesn't want to spank children, he wants to bite them.
no. That was an example. And I don't think you should spank a child. I think the most you should do is
that's
just give them a
good in the
little whack on
podcast
their
out of-
leg.
Out of
Just give him a
context.
little bite.
No, but like just so they know what it feels like.
So you
So, like,
agree to
oh,
an
shit.
extent? With
Yeah,
the-
why do you
Like,
strongly
right-
disagree?
Okay, I'm gonna put disagree because I think
Okay.
the way I envision spanking is bending them over and just whacking them. You know.
But not
Yeah.
hard.
But no, but you know, I do agree with a bit. You know,
Yes, I'm
if
pretty
a kid bites you, you bite them back just lightly, just to show them that it hurts.
Maybe when I'm the same age as the child, but I don't agree with the parent biting a child, actually.
No,
I think
you obviously don't
Hot
bite
take.
it hard to where there's teeth marks. You just give them a little, like, you know, just
Like,
not
why
even
not?
hard
Why not
bite.
just like slap the hand a bit?
Yeah.
Whatever.
No,
like,
because
that.
then they don't understand what biting feels like. The
They
whole
don't need
point.
to understand what
I
biting
just
feels
need
like.
to understand that you've harmed me, and
If
I don't
they-
care for that. I don't want to
If
be
they,
harmed.
no. If they understand what biting feels like, they're less likely to do it again.
Yeah, but
Okay,
if they're
but-
slapped, you know, they ain't
I
gonna do
do-
it again.
Yeah, because they'll
They
know I'll
might
get
do that.
slapped again. No, because they'll know if I bite someone, I get slapped, and I don't want to get. No one wants to get slapped.
It's not about getting the bit. You don't bite them every time they bite. You know, like
I
the
just have
first
to
time they
turn
do
into
it.
biting.
Because that's just it's just a
fucking
common
vampire.
thing that my mum did to me. You
What,
know,
bite you?
when I was 4.
You have to call the non-emergency line, you know.
0800 1111. Remember that number. Some children definitely need to be whacked.
Yeah, you
I'm
know,
alright.
I was slapped in the face as a kid. You know, I don't know what I did, but it's probably justified. You know?
Yeah. Obviously, let's not abuse people.
Yeah, let's.
Right?
I don't advocate for the belt, but I you know, I
no.
think, you know, if someone has stepped out of line, you need to slap them to bring them back. You know.
Pain is a great teacher, as
Yeah.
people have
Who said
before.
that? Didn't your granddad say that? If I remember.
He did.
correctly?
He did.
Yeah, Pain is one of the best tutors out there. You know, he tells you a lot.
No, exactly, and that's why if a kid bites you, you give them a little.
No,
nip
I
back.
slap them. It doesn't
You,
matter
you
what
don't
pain.
have to bite them back. You don't have to do the same thing back. You can just give them a little pinch.
you
know, a
do.
bit of a slap.
You should, because the pain feels different. You want to give them the same pain.
I don't know.
so they
I don't know what's in
understand
this
the pain.
hyper-specific thing. You know.
That's great. That's right.
God, what a funny way of looking at this question. You know.
You know, fair enough. We like freedom of debate with this.
I agree to this question.
I also agree. I think some.
And LP disagrees.
I disagree. I
For
don't
some
think
reason.
you should spank, you know, bend them over.
You just think you
spanking.
should nibble them.
Just what an odd way to take disagreement on that.
I know,
question.
right? What a funny way to do that. Okay.
I just disagree with like full on, you know, just getting the belt out. You know,
No
with
one's
them. I believe-
advocating for that here. We're just advocating.
For a little harm.
Pain's a great
Yeah, and I
teacher.
believe it. I believe if a kid bites you, you bite them back, just not as hard.
No, because imagine you're in public, right? Let's just
Yeah, you
imagine
don't do it in
you're
public.
Well, then obviously there's something wrong with it, then, isn't there? If you're in public.
That's
No,
true.
because you look like a nut job if you're just biting your kid's
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
arm. But you look like a nut job if you're smacking your kid.
No,
in
you don't.
public.
No, you don't.
Not as much, because it's normal.
No.
'Cause I'm-
Yeah. There's been times where I've been, you know, in the presence of a child, I've just been that child needs a good wife.
Yeah, he needs a good
Yeah,
teacher.
I agree.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that child needs a good bite if it's biting.
You know what?
someone.
I'd say we just agree to disagree,
Yeah, that's it. I agree to agree.
because we've disagreed on some super abstract thing. and we ain't gonna come to a compromise. So.
No, this guy wants to fight kids.
Alright, next question. It's natural. You go.
Oh.
You go.
Okay.
Go.
It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I agree with this question.
I strongly agree.
You strongly
Because-
agree.
It's not stating that it's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah,
it's
I was
just
gonna
Yeah.
point that out too.
It's-
It's like,
Yeah.
if I've just cheated, I'm not going to call up my mum being like,
What does that mean?
just had
It
sex.
means having sex.
Cheated means
Oh,
sex.
okay.
So, like, if I've just had sex, I'm not going to call up my mum and be like, I've just had sex, I'm going to keep
Well, yeah,
that
some
secret.
things are best left unsaid. I agree.
That's a good question.
But we got to remember, natural doesn't exactly mean good here. So that's why I don't strongly agree. I agree that, like I just said, some things are best left unsaid. We don't need to tell everyone, well, our parents, our authorities, every last thing we've been doing. Because this is alluding to the government, by the way, this question. So I just agree, because I find strongly agree would be slightly extreme. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree as well. I like privacy actually.
Yeah,
So-
privacy is good. So we, LP, you strongly agree, right?
No, I do agree, if it's bad, not so good. So I have to put agree, because
Okay.
sometimes, keeping secrets can be bad, but
Okay.
But it doesn't. Yeah, fair enough. I agree.
yeah.
Okay. Next question. Should I read?
Yeah.
Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offence. Should
I
I?
agree.
Okay, you agree? I disagree.
Ooh.
I don't like marijuana actually. I don't think it should be criminalised. But on private property, I'm less offended, of course.
Yeah. No, I don't think you should go around, smoking it through the streets.
I think it should be harder to obtain. Now, I don't know the means on how to do that.
I agree, but because it's often used by the police for to do other searches and other things that may violate privacy. For example, often I smell cannabis is very often
Complaint.
complaint of the police, and I think you wouldn't have these problems as much if it was just legal.
When I
It'd be
smell
hard.
cannabis, I smell a slacker, and I don't like slackers. So
That's fair.
So I don't know. My issue is, I think it encourages sloth, and I want to add, I think it should be certainly. If I'm going to take the more liberal position and say it should be allowed, I would still make it so you can only have it post 25. Though
Yeah,
of course people would break the law anyway, but I
Yeah.
think it affects your brain. It's definitely
Until-
before the age of 25. I heard. So,
Yeah.
I
It affects.
Yeah.
It affects your brain either way.
Yeah.
I just it's not that I like marijuana, it's that I don't want people's rights to be
yeah,
trampled on
that's fine.
so freely.
I also.
So
No,
I
go
think that it's in the case of alcohol as well. It's better that it's
Yeah, because I really don't care for alcohol, but I guess I kind of view weed and alcohol the same actually, and I'm advocating for weed to be banned.
Yeah.
So that's quite strange of me, but
Um.
I don't know. It's somewhat of a double standard, but I'll accept I'm a terrible hypocrite.
I also think the legalization of weed creates a lot of more safety, because you could you could mainstream it. It would be a lot safer to use, because you get some which is laced with fentanyl and stuff. If you legalized it, that sort of black market wouldn't
Sorry, but-
exist.
who's lacing their weed?
No, it's a real problem. No,
Ah.
it's not they are, but drug dealers sometimes lace it with fentanyl and don't tell them,
Why would
because
you
they
do that?
add,
How
because they
expensive
add,
fentanyl is? Why would they do that?
because no, listen to me. It's because they brand it as a weed that gives you a better high.
Oh, okay.
So and then they charge more. But fentanyl's really bad. So if you got rid of that black market, it would be a lot safer to use it.
Yeah.
And you know where the weed's coming from and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and the government can make money off it, especially if they like create a nationalised scheme of it. They can make money off it for imports out. Like they. Well, no, not obviously not nationalised weed. But you know what I mean? Like the imports of weed and stuff. They can make a lot of money. So they could put a tax on weed and stuff. So it could do a lot of good. I'm not saying it should be any age does it, but I think you should be made to do it in certain places. Like special cafes like they do in Amsterdam or at home. I think this should really be the only places.
Okay.
But I do think it should be legalised for that purposes.
Okay, I'm sticking to my guns to disagree. I think you guys both agree, right?
I agree to a degree.
Yep.
Okay, next question.
I agree.
The prime function of schooling should be to equip future generations to find jobs.
Okay.
Go on, Ali.
With this question, I do agree. Actually, this says the prime function. It doesn't say the only function. It can still teach other things while doing what's best for the person, which is to equip them with a job.
I have a kind of perspective is I think prime function of schooling should be to refine character, and I believe through refining character, finding jobs or the drive to get a job is just a given from that, and and you have all these other positives which have preceded that. The job thing. I don't want us to build robots by making the prime function jobs. I want good character, good moral character, rather than just job seeking is the prime thing. Because I think a good moral character has a drive to get a job, a drive to provide.
That's a really good point.
I think schools don't necessarily teach you, how to, function for jobs as such, but I think they give you a little bits of each skills to help you get that drive and stuff. Because school creates social, aspects. So, social,
Clubs.
It does create intelligence and things like that. So all these things combined create and equip you for jobs. But I don't think it necessarily equips it directly. I think it creates your equippedness.
I think it's my one counter to that is it'd be very idealistic to expect a state school to develop character in every single or most people even.
That's a good.
No, but the character doesn't. I don't think the character comes from necessarily the school itself. I think it comes from the people around it as well, and the teachers and stuff. But I don't think you build character necessarily from your science. I think it comes from how you're taught and the things you do.
Yes, I'm saying a state school isn't equipped with the appropriate. I don't think a state school would be good enough at that, because that's very different to how schools are now, and they're already not doing a great job at doing what they do now.
Yeah, no, they're not.
So,
I think state schools are kind of trash, with the way they function.
So I agree that they should have this one goal, because it's a lot easier to achieve than saying that they should build character. Or
that's a fair criticism, because building character, that is quite abstract. I agree, and this one goal is quite clear. This schooling. This getting a job goal is it's clear as can be.
I don't think you can necessarily though equip someone to get a job if they don't have social aspects, or they don't have basic courtesies and things like that, which you gain from school.
That would come under the guise of equipping you to find a job, which I think universities actually main functions are, especially the ones the non-Russell group are, is to just to get you a job, to get you a good job in the field you want. They don't want to teach you character, and relatively successful in that goal.
Yeah. You know, no, that's funnily, and sorry. That's one complaint which I have about the non-Russell Group unis, or rather maybe even Russell Group unis as well, is that I think the university has radically changed. You know, if we look at it, from a wider historical perspective, when people used to go to universities, maybe even 50 years ago, 60, people were seriously, getting balls deep into what they were studying, right? They were becoming something of a scholar. But now people are getting the basics, getting jobs, which is a fantastic thing. But there's less of this desire to learn in the universities. It's just people in America at least treat it as just this destination to party. And I don't know, I would, and again, I don't know how you'd go about it, but I would just love for universities to have this just desire to learn, rather than let's just have fun.
That's definitely true. I agree with that. The main reason I think that is just because the amount of people that go to university.
Yeah, no, you are right.
Because now someone such as myself that comes from I'm going to say very poor area can go to university, which is true, by the way. I get them max. I can call myself that. And so yeah, I think the availability of university is definitely
you are right about that.
And it isn't necessarily a good thing. It has led to shortages. And it's led to quite a lot of
overqualifications.
Yeah, it is an issue.
England's got one of the most highest overqualification rates out of any country. I can't remember what percent it was. I watched one of those. Who's that Ukrainian guy that does the career ladder?
Oh yeah, Max
Flamenco.
Yeah,
I like that
guy. I like him.
Yeah, he was like.
He's got like 3 degrees, Mad.
Yeah.
Business
law,
he did a video
and sociology. I think one more.
Yeah.
Economics.
And economics.
Yeah, economics. He's got 4.
He didn't like one, so he didn't like his economic degree.
But he said England's I'm pretty sure it might be the top 1 in the world. All top, in the top 10. I know it's in the top 10.
Korea is the most, I think.
Korea. I don't know which one's number 1 then, but
Korea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know where England is, but I know it's up there, high.
Yeah.
But
it's not even led to everyone getting a good job.
Chasing jobs at all cost isn't necessarily a good thing because of the overqualification touched upon.
Yeah, it's just led to outlandish things where to be a manager at McDonald's you have to have a degree in management or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is
or you have to have
anyone can do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to belittle managers at McDonald's.
Yeah, but it's not a job for a genius, Let's just put that. It's not a degree-worthy job, It's learnable, in short enough amount of time. So I just disagree with this because of my whole character building. I understand it's abstract.
Yeah. I put agree to this question.
So
can I just say, you were optimistic that we were going to get this whole quiz done today.
We'll get it done. Don't worry. We'll see. We'll see.
I've got to go at 10:30.
Okay.
What? You said 11?
I know, but
Let's not dilly-dally. So I disagree.
Okay.
LP, you.
So I've got to do reading. I put disagree.
And Ollie agrees. Okay.
Right.
Next one.
People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce.
I disagree.
This is just eugenics, but
I would say they probably honestly, if we're just being realistic, they probably do it at a less rate because it's not a very favourable role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You know.
like, I think you should be allowed, obviously, right to reproduce and all of that. But I think it should be, very much discouraged if you've got.
I think if obviously I can't comment entirely because I don't have any.
Yeah.
As far as I know, but I think there'd be like some moral.
Like, do you remember that video on
Points.
TikTok that went famous like a few weeks ago of the two like people in a wheelchair who gave birth and they had a disabled child?
Can't say I did.
It was a black family, like disabled. Like you probably did see the video. It went viral.
I can't
I
say.
don't know. I just think they probably shouldn't, but I'm not gonna pass any laws. It's my perspective.
It seems slightly wrong.
I wouldn't birth a disabled child.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree to this question.
Yeah, I disagree.
Based just on the grounds that they can do what they want.
This
people.
right, I'll get it up. I'll send this to Jamie.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jim.
Where's Jamie?
Alright, so LP, do you disagree?
If Jamie wants to have a look at this,
He
just
will.
so he knows my point. Where was it? Yeah, I
Whoa.
disagree.
Okay, next question. I'm reading it. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Links to the prime function of schooling. I don't know how I'm saying schooling. Question. I tend to agree because discipline covers a lot.
Yeah, discipline creates manners and then creates things like discipline. Like if you got discipline, there's discipline on everything. Discipline with revision and homework. That's a form.
It covers a lot.
Do your homework.
Yeah, it's very wide scope. I put agree to this question.
Same.
Discipline is a great thing, obviously.
That carries you a long way.
If you can be disciplined and in any subject, you'll do better than most people. So if
that's
that
quite
can be
the
taught,
virtue.
yeah, it's a good way.
If you're undisciplined, you're not going to go very far. Because you're not going to have motivation.
I think this is talking about discipline
as in
above an authority. But even then, I somewhat.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is quite a quick question.
Yes. Okay.
We all agree.
I think
Just
we're
agree.
all, I think the next question we're going to have fun with, and I think
I'll-
we're all going to agree.
Okay. Solly reading.
There are no savage and civilized people. There is only different cultures. And I disagree with this.
I think I
disagree with
strongly disagree with this question.
I strongly do. I'm in between strongly and disagree.
I think if Europeans, let's say one nation in Europe, just literally any random nation in Europe started acting like barbarians, as barbarians used to be, they would be ostracized. People would be calling them lunatics. But
could that just be our culture?
But apparently in the East, or Africa, that's just a different culture. Oh no. Yeah, well,
that's a good point.
cultures have economic benefits and they have economic what's the opposite of benefits? Sorry,
A drawback.
Yeah, drawbacks. We shouldn't just be like, let's just let them. It's just a different culture. No, it's not.
I mean, if you looked at this from a scope of, let's say 10,000 years ago, something like that, when we're all cavemen and stuff, looked at it from that scope, then I would agree with this, because there hadn't been an established set of morals. With Plato and, Socrates and, the Greeks and the Romans and all these different, and the Chinese even, and the Middle East, all these cultures creating sets of morals through religion and things like that. Even the most, far-fetched sort of civilizations had some sort of influence culture-wise and morally.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they've never experienced, human contact. But then I guess you can't really say that they're savage or uncivilized because you don't know, unless
Well, they probably are.
you don't know what's going on. But I think I don't think there are different culture. Like I think there are savage and civilized people because of the morals we've set up, historically, prehistorically, things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd just say everyone was savage.
Yeah, everyone's been
first.
uncivilized at one point.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not
Like we said before, like we said in episode 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's been uncivilized, but people become civilized.
Yeah, through
and
self-sufficiency. Yeah.
You're saying it's a good point you made that culture has been used as a veil to
excuse barbarism.
Yeah.
No, we shouldn't treat them as just another culture. No, but we should try and civilize them. Not militarily, just how let's just give them. I don't know what the
push
fuck.
in the right
I actually don't
direction,
know what the hell you do.
A moral compass.
I don't know what you do, but you give them something.
Yeah, good. Hey, that's bad actually.
You can't exactly pass down a copy of Plato's The Republic and things are just going to sort out.
I mean, that's what they did with the Bible.
Exactly. But through the thousands of years, some society has got to cultures that we don't have contact with now. Even cultures have broken off from bigger cultures and things like that, and they've all been basically every culture, I'd say, has been affected by some historic set of morals, whether you realize it or not. So they can't just go, oh well, they're uncivilized. They have no morals.
We can just say that their morals suck, though.
Yeah.
We can also
exactly.
say that.
It's not an excuse to dehumanize them. It's just
It's just
you can still count them as savage.
Yeah.
I think the Taliban shouldn't just be treated
Yeah,
as another
they're savage.
culture, actually.
Yeah.
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 Maybe,
I thought I'd have more to say about this, but no.
No.
Maybe
we've
widow
discussed this
burning.
before,
Yeah, we have. Maybe widow burning actually isn't so good.
Yeah, maybe the British should have
maybe
done
saying
that,
if women
and they did.
maybe saying if women floats, they're witches because they're made out of woods, and if they sink and die, they're not witches.
That's a Monty Python bit.
No, but it's true.
Oh.
That's genuinely one of the ways I used to test for witches.
I disagree.
Okay, I strongly disagree. But I don't think we should dehumanize them, but in principle I strongly disagree. LP?
I put disagree.
Okay, next question.
Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. With this question, I'm strongly agree.
Yeah.
I'm strongly agree.
I strongly agree. Because this question is quite clear, actually. Those who are able to work, that is very clear. Surprisingly clear.
It's not
for
like
this
saying,
test.
I think you can interpret able, though, in two ways. You can either interpret it as physically able or, like actually able.
Well,
I think if you're able
it
to
literally
work,
just means able. Like,
I know, because I think
able
if
is able.
you're, I think if you've got kids, and you're a single parent and stuff, and you literally have, even if you did work, you couldn't afford the child.
You could argue that they're not able, though.
Yeah, no, that's exactly my point. Then they're not able.
It's very.
But they're physically able.
Yeah, but they're not able.
Socially, they're not. So yeah, I strongly agree that they shouldn't expect.
It's dependent on circumstance, and I would say that if it was a family, then and let's say they had 10 children, no, maybe not, because that seems like that.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Seems
but
like
I think if they've got
scenario.
if it's a single mum with an infant alone.
I get.
Yeah. Well, this is why maternity leave exists.
Yeah. So then they can go back to work once they're back. But I do strongly agree that if you can work but you're choosing not to, and you just want to go off our taxpayers' money and be sufficient that way and codependent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should get their money. I think you should contribute to society as well, even if it's working at KFC.
Mm-hmm.
You're working then. At least you're contributing to something.
That's a good contribution.
Yeah.
Anyway, I strongly agree.
I strongly agree too. LP?
I'm not a KFC very much. No, I don't eat chicken.
Nah, Taco Bell. Taco Bell's where it's at.
I hate Taco Bell. Anyway,
What?
Go.
So we all strongly agree.
I strongly agree.
I strongly agree.
No, I strongly agree with that.
Okay. Okay, I
When
think
you
we
are
can go read it. I think we couldn't. This isn't a very long question, but go on. Read it. Sorry.
When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things.
Okay. Can I start? Can I start?
Yep.
Yeah. I have two ways of looking at this, because this question actually dawned on me a couple of days ago, because there was this big problem with the water bill in my family recently, and the whole day my mother wouldn't stop talking about it, right? And I just thought, maybe it is better to stick with more cheerful things, right? Maybe it's be a bit more. Don't be a downer, right? That's one principle. But on the other hand, if we're talking on a governmental level, no, I don't think an MP should be making sandcastles when things are going down the drain. So there is a relativity in terms of responsibility and things. But I kind of agree, but not on a governmental level.
Yeah, I'm gonna look through the lens of like death, for instance. Say someone dies in your family. I don't think it is, but I think you should think about it for so long, and then you should start distracting yourself. You should be able to process something, and then move on. Because if you it's a proven fact that if you repress bad things, it does a lot more damage to you than if you focused on them and you were sad for a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a proven fact. I have counselling from things. I'm not going into it, obviously, but where I've repressed emotions and things like that, I've now had to get my own help through that because of that repression.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that you shouldn't just focus on the better things at that point. I think if you're dragging it, if you're dragging and it's it's been a month and you're still down in the dumps, then you should obviously distract yourself, because then that'll you'll do good things and you might better yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I only think you should be able to focus on the negative thing, because that's how your brain processes, by focusing on that. So I disagree, just because of the fact that you should focus on bad things and then eventually work up to focusing on the better things.
Looking solely, I'm going to say pragmatic choice, I would probably say I disagree. That you probably should focus on what's wrong and fix it. This doesn't apply to a lot of things. I say sometimes quite a lot that it's probably, if you can't change them, it's probably not better to focus on that. But this specific,
very good analogy.
This specifically says when you're troubled. It suggests to me it's something that can be, can be fixed. And in that case, I would disagree. You probably fix it. It's strike the iron while it's still type thing.
Yeah. Okay, I agree to this question still. Ollie disagrees.
Yeah.
LP.
I disagree.
Okay, you disagree. Okay, next question. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. This is kind of tricky for me, because you can never rule it out, of course.
I think it depends when they moved over.
I don't know, to be honest.
I disagree. I think, but depending on, obviously, when I think of a first generation immigrant, I think of someone that has quite a lot for the country that they moved to. So that's not always a fact. It's someone that tends to want to integrate.
Mm-hmm.
A second generation immigrant, maybe not, but a first generation, probably does want to integrate. Just out of
it's kind of the thing. It's the second gens, the third gens who disassociate more. So that's a good point.
So I also think about what age they moved over here. Say they were a first generation, but they moved over here when they were 4, on a boat without the parents or anything. they're the first generation of their family to move over. Because they're so young, I think they could integrate easier than a 60-year-old moving over here.
I've
only got 20 or so years left.
It also depends on how many other of the same, kin are moving over as well. Because there's little incentive to integrate if you've got, loads of other people of the same background moving into the same area. Like, what is it, Tooting in London or something? One of those areas. It's literally filled with Indians. There's Hindi signs. They have no incentive to integrate, learn English. There is none at all. So those people will likely never be integrated.
That's a really good point. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking it through the lens of, say, an Asian migrant to America, because I think that most of them really, really do like America, like a lot.
Yes,
they're quite patriotic, which is obviously a really good thing. But that example somewhat shatter it that you bring. Yeah, it depends on. I
don't know. Also depends geography and so on. But I'm just going to disagree because you can never say never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree as well.
I do think it gets harder with generation. Obviously, you say, "Oh, but they've lived here." That
doesn't excuse their behaviour and disregarding law because they're second gen. So where do we all land, Ollie?
I disagree.
Okay, so we all just disagree. Okay. Okay. Next question. What's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately good for us. I'm gonna say no. I don't like what Nestle do actually.
I can think of an example of Boeing. They get cheaper planes. They make planes cheap and stuff. It's not exactly good for the people in them when they go wrong.
No.
It's good for their money.
I think it says most successful. It's the word most for me. Most doesn't mean all corporations are good. It means that most. And I think that most innovations, most measures that cut costs, which ultimately is more efficient, is better for us. But yeah, you have thought of examples where that's true. Nestle and Boeing.
Yeah. No, I understand that benefits come, obviously, we can get more shit, but I do kind of care, where that comes from,
Yeah.
It's like who had to die for the
team. It's like I've never ordered anything of Team or anything, like my friends have and stuff, but I don't really agree with the whole
data thing.
Yeah, and not even that, just the factories.
Yeah.
It's all child labour and stuff. I don't want just because I can get something for cheap and they're producing something cheaply. I've watched documentaries about Temu and Etsy and stuff. The workers get paid about £1 a day.
So these children, they shouldn't be in the factories. They should be in the mines. They should be in the mines instead.
Here comes the northern view.
Okay, I disagree with this question.
The word most really is what stands on my agree with this.
Okay.
But it depends what sort of. I don't think most corporations are actually that good. I think the small, corporations are good, but I wouldn't say they're like the big successful ones. I think most big corporations you hear of have bad things going on, and even if they're covered up.
If I answer that question, you'll make me sound like a bootlicker, so I'm not even gonna answer it.
Plead the fifth.
Yeah.
I disagree. Ollie agrees. LP.
I disagree.
Okay. No broadcasting.
We've had no strongleys.
Yeah.
I don't strongly.
I've had a strongly. Okay. No broadcasting institution, however independent, its content should receive public. Sorry.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
I don't
particularly care for state-run media.
No.
No, but I don't think BBC's mostly state-run media. It's not
yes,
very.
It is.
it's not very stately though. You know, there's not necessarily North Korean sort of style stuff.
It's
going
not.
on.
Just we don't have to load that question right there. You know, just because it's not North Korea doesn't mean it's not state run. You know, it's supposedly impartial, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. No. Obviously with that TV license, I just don't pay mine. But yeah.
You use BBC though.
Do I?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Do I?
Oh, come on, man. They're going to be raiding you.
No. Okay, I don't watch anything live on my TV.
They're going to be raiding you.
Nah,
it's too late. The cat's out the bag.
I don't watch any live media on my TV. I only watch Netflix and YouTube. There you go.
There you go. They're not bothered now. I agree. I agree. Yeah. LP.
Okay, moving on.
Wait, well, where does LP stand?
I put disagree because you know it's just this because BBC do some good shows. You know, the state-run media still come up with good things.
Disagree on what premise?
What the fuck did you come from, man? We're doing a podcast, man. This is.
Yeah, you're in the middle of our podcast.
This is honestly.
Wait, did you not see the
I'd
recording?
usually be nice, but this is honestly quite a disturbance.
Look, I'm gonna move to the podcasting to please don't disturb. Thank you in advance, champ.
Yeah, this fine is good.
Cut. I'm gonna cut and move to podcasting. Please don't disturb. Thanks in advance, champ. Yeah, because you can't see it. Hello.
No, I can see it.
I'd normally be nice, but that was such a disturbance. Like I kind of got a heart attack hearing him.
I heard him join. I but I was.
I didn't even hear him join. I didn't even hear him.
I really didn't want him to. I looked over and saw him, and I really just wanted him not to speak, though, just so I could.
He's really thrown us off.
Anyway, we're on to a new page anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, page 4.
Right. Restart.
It took us an hour to do. An hour and 20.
Okay. Restart in 3, 2, 1.
Wait.
And we're on to page. Oh, hello. And we're on to page 4 here of 6. This is about wider society.
Oh. Okay.
On to the first question. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counter-terrorism. I agree with this question. Obviously, Snowden, NSA, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. I strongly agree with this.
Yeah, I don't care for the phone tapping things. You know.
No.
I agree, but I see why it is done. Like, you know.
I don't.
I see why it's done.
I don't know what has to be done to us people, but.
No.
Yeah. No.
What does that do?
Yeah. No. I obviously you're a cyber security guy, so that's kind of first thought for you. But I immediately just think too, we've got to be safe from the airport and stuff. So that's obviously justified. But the laptop stuff, going into our computers now, that is bad. I don't care for that. So I guess I do agree. Yeah, I do agree. Because I first would have disagreed, just thinking about the physical examples, but online,
that's a good
it's quite unjustified.
I'd never thought about it in real life, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, we come at it from completely different.
Completely
different areas.
I just think the fact that they put in backdoors into everything, including your CPU, by the way, including encryption things, including Windows basically spyware anyway. It's not good. It's not good. And the government does it obviously with Apple earlier. The UK government did it with Apple this year, famously. It's not good.
I remember that.
I don't like this. The shaggings online. They're gonna make digital IDs, right? Which you think, that's great. I can only get my phone out to get my. No, that's not good because you can be tracked using, your devices on the internet.
Yeah. No, I agree.
No, I don't agree with that. I see that as someone coming into your own home and looking through everything. I don't like it.
Because what do we use more than our phones and computers, really? Not a lot. Probably nothing.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't like it. I'm strongly agreeing on that one.
Okay.
LP?
Oh, I agree. You know,
I agree.
like you said,
I
tapping
just
and
agreed
stuff,
just
it's
because I was
like-
thinking about physical first.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd not thought of that.
No. You are swaying me close to the strongly agree, though, I have to say. Next question. I'll read. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system.
I disagree. I think it can actually create more delay
No.
in the long run.
I
In the long
not-
run.
Definitely not in the long run.
I
No.
think it can.
Not in the long
I
run.
think
Okay,
if it's if it's a good
on.
one-party state, I'm not saying anyone, but I mean like, like if they crack down, it's like, not as much, but like, but like, not, but like Nazi Germany, like after a while they stopped, like, making changes because everyone was pro that. Eventually, they realised that everything was going wrong. So I think it does slow down after a while because they start messing up.
I think that's just the fault of losing a war more than it is the fault of them not having democracy. I think you only have to look at what the British government did during World War II to see that it's probably better. Or any war, like Lincoln in the Civil War, the American Civil War, to see that it's a lot better in that situation to be fast acting, which is never going to happen in a democracy.
Yep. That is true.
I have to agree.
Yeah, no. But LP was getting onto something there, with Nazi Germany as an example. They can certainly delay stuff scientifically. I'll give you an example. Nazi Germany said that the theory of relativity was like Jewish magic or something like that. So that I guess ignoring science there is of course delaying progress, and the democratic system is they are usually more into the whole science thing than ideologues. But I guess LP's blue pilled me to just an agree. But I think just one power, they can get more shit done, rather than we have to constantly flip with these elections with wasted money. The amount of stuff that is spent on elections is ridiculous. People pumping their campaign out. But I agree. Where do we all land?
I'm strongly agree.
That's
I
fair.
could agree.
You agree?
I would add that would be more ideology than the whole Nazi Germany thing. Would be more ideology than system of governance.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, Ollie, I know you're going to be repulsed by the next question. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried.
No.
I'd say I strongly disagree, to be honest.
I strongly disagree.
disagree.
I don't care
I would
if I've done
I'd give you
anything
an
wrong.
Yeah, I mean, would you let a policeman come into your house for no reason?
Nope.
I said no. And this is true with I think any of your devices. I mean, for example, the whole Snowden thing. Like they were spying on millions and millions of Americans. It wasn't just this one guy that did something bad before.
Yeah.
Obviously, that does happen. And is somewhat more justifiable. But yeah, the whole mass surveillance thing, not
yeah,
really.
that is literally 1984. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I strongly disagree.
I'm strongly disagree.
We all strongly disagree in that one.
I strongly disagree.
Nice. Okay. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes.
I agree. I don't strongly agree, but I agree. I don't think it should be like, you know, just thrown out willy-nilly. But I think, you know,
Yeah.
if you've killed a large amount of people, you know, and you've done substantial damage, like they did at the Nuremberg trials, I think that was completely justified. You know, they did so much harm, killed so many people. I think it was just the right thing to do by kill them. They don't deserve even the worst of prisons. They just deserve death. You know, some could argue torturing them is more, you know, more painful and stuff, and that's very true. I don't think they deserve torture because that's really immoral, but I don't think they deserve to be on this earth, you know, living amongst us when they did what they did. So I think if you've done something so horrible, you do deserve to just, you know, get it. You know, I'm not saying painful, getting stabbed with bamboo sticks till you die, but I just think, you know, quick injection and you're out.
I don't like the injection. I'm more of a fire squad kind of guy personally.
I'm more of a stoner type of guy.
Go out and like.
Okay. Wow.
No, I have a point with this. Is Ollie made the character? Me and Ollie did this test, just to ourselves one time, and I don't think Ollie was as red pill to the death penalty then. But his kind of counter argument, and it's a fair one, is, you know, it can be quite tyrannical. You know, the death penalty. You know, it was something along those lines. I'm definitely paraphrasing, but my counter argument was, well, it wasn't then, but it would be now. Would be, well, we can have a constitution. You know, checking the government basically. You know, whoever the powers may be. You know, making sure that they don't do the wrong. They don't act out of, you know,
militia.
Yeah, and
that's a really good point.
Yeah. So I agree. I just agree. Go on.
Yeah. I think you're right there. That's a good counter argument to the one I made. Yeah. I just kind of. I was like, no, actually, some people deserve to be killed. That was generally my whole thought process.
Yeah, no, that pretty much is mine, but you know, the counter argument adds another layer, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so we all just agree there. Yeah, I just agree as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree. Wow, we all agree. But I have something to know about this question. It's so awfully phrased. You know, it's so, you know, people above, right? You know, automatically.
Who are people?
Ultimately, you know, it creates quite nasty images, in my mind at least. But no, I agree that the most, I guess, virtuous should be, you know, in control. As in, the doctor should actually tell us what not to eat. You know,
what's wrong.
You know, and you know, they are telling us, they are commanding us what to do. You know, that rather telling us, it's the commanding word which is so kind of appalling here, I guess. I agree.
Yeah.
Hierarchies can be good, actually.
Hierarchies are an inherent thing in literally everything. There's this thing called Price's Law, and there's literally basically there's hierarchies in language. You know, there's words that there's 500 words which we use in 90% of conversations, and there's a good example of like classical composers, etc. Hierarchies are in everything.
Yeah. My thought process was a company, which obviously has been structured to be as efficient as possible, and they have quite rigid hierarchies. Obviously, you can go up and down, but yeah, and that works. So they do some good. I've never heard of this law though.
It's interesting.
What's the law called?
Price is law. Like price, like PRICE. Price is law. But so I agree. You know, we can't tear away hierarchies; they're inherent.
No.
They've been evolved. They've been evolved.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of them.
Right. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all.
I don't like the phrasing of the question that doesn't represent anything.
I would
agree. If it was abstract art shouldn't be considered art, then I would disagree, right? But the fact that it doesn't represent anything, which is what art
whole point of art is.
Then
I agree. I agree. Yes, that's my thought process.
So we all just agree there.
Yeah.
And we all just agreed with the prior one as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Next question.
Yes.
Ollie.
Okay. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation.
I disagree.
I agree to a certain extent. Obviously, if you've nicked something, obviously I don't think that. But if you've killed a few people, or you've done a bit of rape, probably You can probably.
No. I think it's circumstantial, obviously, but I think they should be like, if it's like I think it's like, if it's not too bad of a crime, but you can still get in prison for it. I think it should be a 50-50 split. Obviously, you should get justice, but they should focus on rehabilitating it, because if you're never getting out of jail, what's the point of rehabilitation? You know?
Yeah, of course.
If you've got life in prison, there's no point. But if you're going to get out in 5 to 20 years, I think they should rehabilitate you, so you're less likely to offend.
Yeah, I have a point here. It's actually from it's from Plato's Republic. You know, when a music student messes up in the orchestra or whatever, wherever they're doing, wherever they're practicing.
Yeah.
What is the teacher's role? He's not going to try and make him worse at music. He's going to try and make him better at music. So these petty criminals, we should be trying to make them more law-abiding, rather than less, right? We shouldn't have a heavy hand with a shoplifter, right? They should pay their dues, of course, but we should be trying to make them law-abiding rather than, beating the hell out of them, making them a reoffender, etc. So treat it, like that. But obviously with murderers, etc., there are people who will not rehabilitate, and it will be a waste too. So
Norway's prisons. I like the example of Norwegian prisons. Everyone knows. Oh, great! Look at this. You get everything. But obviously that's a good thing, and everyone goes, oh, bro, look at their rehabilitation rates. Look how many people reoffend. But just seeing some murderer or rapist have such a good life.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me either. Also, our prisons are not prisonly enough. They are basically hotels. There's iPhones in there.
I've seen so many
TikTok
videos,
lives from prison. It's disgusting.
But I see them with PlayStations and stuff.
Disgust me. And these people are probably terrible people. I'm just gonna say it. We know the moral decay here. So our prisons makes me want to agree. It's so weird, but I guess I'm just gonna disagree. So,
I disagree.
So wait, do we all disagree?
Wait, it's a waste of time trying to rehabilitate. No, I agree.
I'm
getting confused. No, I do think we should rehabilitate.
So you disagree?
Yeah, I disagree.
And Ollie?
Punishment should be more important Yes, I agree.
Okay, I disagree, but I'm kind of close. I'm kind of dry. Next one. It's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. This should be pretty quick. I agree.
We've just done that one.
No, we didn't.
No, we haven't. We just
Wait,
did
what one did we just do? Oh, yeah.
So you disagreed with the one that LP.
Yeah, okay. Punishment should be more important. Yeah, okay, yeah, no. Oh, no, I was looking at the other one. I disagree with the other one as well.
It's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals.
Yeah, I think... Actually, no, I do agree.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah,
I think we all just agree, right?
Yeah.
Those basically were two joint discussions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I have an example of this one. Is who is more important, God or the prophet? God, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to give credit where the credit is due. The original idea.
Yeah.
You know, the business man is important, of course, vital, but he's not as important as the original maker.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
It's my opinion.
So,
No, I completely agree with you. There would be no art or writing if you didn't have the writer. The business person can only profit from that because someone has done it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a chain. You know, you need the writer and the artist for the business person to
work. You do need the businessman because Van Gogh was very unpopular, his paintings, so maybe you did need a businessman. But the businessman wasn't more important than him. No way. So I disagree, but I can't say strongly.
I agree with this question.
You agree?
I don't really get my thought out. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I think it is the word important is what makes or break this. You did bring a really good example with God versus the prophet, but especially the manufacturer, I would say you wouldn't be able to publish your art if it was, as you said.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That's generally just down to what you think important.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's kind of an argument over the concept, isn't it? Really. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, me and LP disagree. Ollie agrees.
Yep.
Okay. Quick. We're probably going to be able to finish this section if LP gives us some leeway.
Yeah. I'm obviously going to give leeway. All right.
Who reads?
I can read if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I disagree.
Okay.
I think, I think you can balance it. You know, you can be a homemaker and have a career, or even the man can do it. I think men can be good fathers and step up. I think if you're a proper good dad, you should be able to look after your kids without the wife around. You know, I admit, mothers do have a better instinct in them sort of things biologically. That's irrefutable. But I think, realistically, if, the woman has a better degree, can make more money than the man, why should the woman not work and they have less money? I think at the end of the day, it's whatever is going to work best for the family. And you can balance it, like I said, the mum can work when the kids are at school.
I got that.
I think that homemakers as well, if it was children, then I think children are more important than a career. And that would be my main point of contention.
That's basically my point as well, but go ahead.
If they said fathers, the same thing but with fathers, I would also agree.
Exactly my point.
Father
should
also put their children above their career. So I agree with this question.
My point is the same. It was funnily enough Ben Shapiro who nailed it on the head. Is if it was fathers, I would also strongly agree, because if you're a parent, it is kind of your duty to raise your children well, and
but they're wording it No, but the issue is they're wording in a way which is only the mother's duty. They're not wording it in a way where parents may have.
I agree that it is the mother's duty, but I also believe it's the father's, right?
Yes, I said if there was another question below it that said fathers, I would agree to that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it just mothers because that's just motherly care, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just
But yeah,
there's more important.
I guess that.
I
do agree.
I may even strongly agree to this one. I'm gonna strongly agree, but I would also add that I strongly agree with the fathers.
But
you know,
yeah,
if you word it like that, then I agree.
It's your own opinion. We allow freedom to debate with this.
Yeah, no. A lot of it is about tackling the abstract, how we view the abstract in these questions. So if you disagree, you disagree.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough. It's what you see in the question, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So I strongly agree.
I agree.
Ali agrees.
Actually,
LP disagrees.
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay, nice. Next question. Who reads?
I'll read. Almost all politicians promise economic growth, but we should heed our warning of climate science that growth is detrimental to our efforts to curb global warming. This is a balancing act between climate change and
I have a
economic
point to
growth.
make with
You
this.
can't have both. That's fair.
Yeah, you've pointed out that it also makes them seem mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Which they're not.
Yeah. I'll make a point.
You
though.
know.
When people boast about, high GDPs and etc., they're kind of, of course that's great, having a great economy, but it is actually quite abstract, having, you have a high GDP, okay, what did that cost? As in, what have you had to, sacrifice for this? And I don't think raping the environment is good.
Worth it.
No, it's not worth it because I care a great deal about the environment because I think that's caring about the whole world. So I do think it's
stewardship,
vital.
isn't it?
I think it's vital to sort out the environment. It's incredibly rewarding in the long term.
Also, they do come hand in hand. Like, for instance, we can have economic growth and curb global warming. Even the fact that there's jobs now dedicated to sorting out global warming is proof of economic growth, because that's a whole new area of work which promises economic growth because they're getting paid and spending their money.
That's a great point.
So the fact that there's even jobs to help with it.
There's a difference between what most people think tackling climate change is and what it actually is. I don't think legislation to make all cars electric is a good thing.
Yeah,
and I don't.
You've got to slow down this process.
Yeah, as much as it's inevitable.
One thing that annoys me though, does really annoy. Actually, no, go on.
I don't think that we should subsidise renewable energy as much as we do, because it doesn't lead to innovation as it did in the past. There's not really an economic incentive to make wind power better, when if you build a wind farm now, it's just government subsidised anyway.
Also, one thing that really annoys me about electric cars, and this isn't like the cars itself, it's the people that try and refute them, is they go, it's worse for the environment than like petrol and diesel cars. If you actually look into it and watch a 5-minute video explaining how both of them work, like how the process of it all getting made and stuff, it's not greener petrol cars. And I do think we should slowly, I don't think by 2030 we should have no petrol cars being sold, but I do think we should slowly work towards that sort of goal, or even cleaner fuels, because electric cars are more green for the environment. Like, people try and argue, oh, what about the lithium mines? It's still cleaner
I think
than...
our collective point is that we shouldn't be accelerationists.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't try and reach goals that are going to affect us negatively.
You know, chasing too much progress is actually a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
I don't see the UK being net zero anytime soon. So,
No.
But I agree, because if I strongly agreed, I think that would be too ambitious.
yeah. Let's do some nuclear, guys. Actually,
Yeah.
let's.
I really like nuclear energy.
So wait,
It's one
do
of
we
my
all
favourite
agree on this one?
I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, we all just
Yeah, I
agree.
agree.
Okay. All right. Last question of the session.
Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity.
Okay.
I agree with this question.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with this question, but I think I've looked at it slightly different to everyone. Is that I view it as a historical thing, because the whole trend now is to, in the UK, the US is disowning our country almost. Is, oh my God, the empire was so bad. You know what the British did. Oh God, I'm so ashamed to be part of this country. Well, you have to realise, product of its time for one, and also the British Empire did some great things, freeing the slaves globally. So there's been this whole thing is just rejecting, what your country has come from, and has led to, and that to me is counterproductive. It's made people hate where they live, and you are less likely to contribute positively to a society in which you hate. So I think it is actually virtuous to make peace with the establishment, if we're thinking about the establishment as this country as a whole.
That's a good point. I looked at it through the angle of your parents as like your first authority.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So,
yeah, I would have never thought that. But go ahead.
As you get older, your relationship with your parents really changes, and I think that kind of shows your maturity.
That's a good one.
With how you deal with them. I don't think that many people in their 30s are having as many arguments with their parents as they did when they were 14.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
Like, I didn't really, even now, compared to my friend, I'm not saying I'm more mature and stuff, but, I don't argue with my mum. I rarely do. Maybe once every few months, because normally we're quite the same
I've had an
page and
argument
stuff.
with my mother in, over 2 years.
Yeah,
Exactly. I've never had a big argument. Obviously there's been little tiffs here and there,
yeah, of course.
disagreements, but there's never been a shouting match sort of thing. I can't remember the last time I had a shouting match or anything like that. But I do agree with Ollie there that, because how you treat your parents and how you respond to them, even with your siblings, I'd say. I think you could even do that with your siblings. I haven't had a proper argument with my older brother in ages. My younger brother, because he's younger and he's more irrational and stuff. But me and my older brother, we get along fine, we're closer than we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because of our age.
Yeah.
Two different angles. The governmental one's a good one. Yes, it's a good example in the UK. It's on a personal level, I don't really. I just roll my eyes every time I hear someone say, "Oh, look, we did bad things."
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, I've mentioned this point to Ollie one time, is people want to create something of a year zero, while people on the radical left is they want to completely reboot this country's history and rebrand it. Being British, it has never been an abstract concept of hey, we're the most tolerant, we are, you can be any religion in Britain. That's never been what being British has meant. And by the way, I'm an advocate for religious freedom in of course, in a moderate sense, but but they're trying to rebrand Britishness, and they want to reboot British history and disown everything on what this country has been founded on, and that is bad. That is what Pol Pot did. That is what the French Revolution did, and both were pretty evil, to be honest. Not that King Louis was a great guy, but yeah, I just think you've got to accept where you've come from, and the immature.
It was like that question we had earlier on in the test, where it's like, you should never be proud of your country because you couldn't choose where you were born.
Yeah.
It's like, it's completely wrong. You should be proud of it. You can not be proud of some of the history, but you should always, make peace with it and be like, oh well, we did that. We've reformed now.
Yeah.
So
times have
just
changed.
like you don't see Germans dwelling on what they did in the past.
Yeah, no, and you don't see the Japanese
They've
either.
reformed. Yeah, no.
Yeah. They just
You
deny
don't
it.
see like.
So the Turks.
Yeah, I was thinking of them straight away, actually. Yeah.
I know. It's somewhat impressive. I don't know how. I can understand why you would be being told it's bad your entire life. Probably does make you think it's bad, but it's somewhat impressive. To be proud of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just
agree
agree
with
to that question. Everyone else?
Wait.
Making people
What did she say?
about.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and we are done for tonight.
All right.
Hello, and we're back again on page 5 of the political compass test. The first question being, astrology accurately explains many things. My personal stance on this is disagree.
Disagree. Only disagree.
Is it like about star signs and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
I strongly disagree. I hate them sort of people.
I think
Nice.
determinism has a bit to do with it. But yeah, like the guy like Loser Lane and Winner Wayne, Thomas Lawyerville. I think if you go on.
No, finish, because I've got a question, but it'll be best after.
Okay, because if you think something is going to happen, it probably will. So that's my opinion on that. I think it has merit only because people think it has merit.
Right, that's an interesting way of looking at it. So it's the thought which is giving astrology power, right? That's a good fun. Yeah, okay, that kind of answers my question. It was like, what's stopping you from strongly disagreeing? So no, that's a good way of looking at it. It's like the whole, I guess, like switch it to religion accurately explains many things. Of course, people are gonna be. Of course, it's gonna accurately explain many things because there'll be people trying to go after prophecies and such. But I'm gonna look at this like, does it metaphysically does astrology have any metaphysical merit? I'm gonna say no. And so I strongly disagree. But I like Ollie's way of looking at it though. It's a clever way.
Okay, so I'm disagreeing.
Yeah, you just disagree. I strongly disagree.
LP?
I strongly disagree.
Okay,
nice.
I'll take this question while I'll read it. You cannot be moral without being religious. Who wishes to answer first, or should I start? Or
you take it away, man.
My thoughts is a casual disagree, but my observation here is that barely any of us, right? An extraordinarily small percentage of us, we barely have any understanding of like morality. We've never really gave it a thought, right? Whereas I think a religious person in today's day and age has likely thought about morality a lot more, because actually I saw a podcast clip with Alex O'Connor, funnily enough, where he's a bit disappointed in atheists today, because most people that you'll meet in the UK will be atheists nowadays, but his complaint was that they haven't really thought about it, whereas the average religious person today has actually gave quite a bit of thought about their beliefs. So my point is, there's more of an attentiveness which comes with religiosity, which may make you more moral. But I still casually disagree. I think, I'm not particularly religious, but I would claim to be moral. I guess I'm not evil. I'm not too bad.
I mean, I think all moral, like a lot of morals, do come from religion. It's just like a fact.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But I don't think you have to be religious to follow them.
Of course.
It's just embedded in society now.
Yes.
I think I saw the same clip that you're on about. It was these the two guys, other guy. And no, that's a good thought with it. I probably have put more thought into it.
Yeah.
Which is why I would probably be a disagree as well. But the basic premise of you cannot be.
It's quite silly.
Don't agree with that.
It's quite silly. There's plenty of moral atheists out there and non-believers. So I just disagree. Do we all just disagree here?
Yeah, I just disagree.
Yeah.
I just disagree.
Okay. Next one.
Because I disagree because I think all, like most morals, have religious, underlined.
Yeah. Okay.
Charity is better than social security as a means of helping genuinely disadvantaged. I don't really know. I guess I agree, but I also do think there should be charities are very limited in what they can do. Where social security, because it's government ran, it's much more widespread.
I'm not too big a fan of welfare.
No, I think people who abuse it shouldn't get it. If you can work and you're choosing not to, what's wrong with you? But I think if you've got a disability and you can't do a job that would earn you enough to live, then I think it's fine. But I don't think most charities can get to every single person because they don't get enough funding, a lot of them. So I disagree, because social security is much more widespread and it's a lot more available to the people who need it. But I do think charities can be more effective in what they do.
Yeah. That last point got my point. I think that charity is more effective, I believe in the free market.
Yeah, same.
And the government isn't exactly known for being very efficient and effective.
No.
And I don't think we should apply that to social security or welfare.
Yeah, no. And there's a point which Hopper makes about how welfare actually subsidises the condition. Like, for example, you have single mothers, let's say, they get more money, right? They get benefits, right? Let's say, in this case specifically then, of course, there's no resentment on my part. But if you give single mothers more benefit, there will be more single mothers. And I believe in the traditional family structure. People benefit more when there's a father figure. And that's not a very good condition to be in, right? You're kind of you're not directly encouraging it, but more and more people may start to abuse it, or it just occurs naturally. Shouldn't do that. We shouldn't subsidise that.
That's a really good point. I'd also like to add on top of that welfare often comes with stipulations about who's allowed to get it and when it stops.
It's complex. It's very intricate.
Which leads to some people being dull trapped, where they, if they actually get a job, they'll earn less money than they were on it or poorer. So it leaves you in a situation where you it's in your best interest to be
on it.
in welfare instead of
work.
going for a job, which is not good.
That's not good. That's unproductive. It's unfruitful. It's bad. So I agree with this.
I also agree with this point.
I'm just going to disagree because I believe that,
Yeah.
I've known a lot more people to get welfare than they have, gone to charities.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something else, but like I said, some people are naturally unlucky.
I personally do agree with this. I don't think like astrology comes into it or anything.
I think I know.
But I do just think some people are just born. Well, not born, but they just are in unlucky situations. Which
like you're born with Down
more
syndrome.
unlucky.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Or like, I've got. Well, I won't call him my friend, but this person I know who goes to my haircuts, he has just got the most unlucky life ever. He was talking about it. Like he's had like multiple people in his life die within 4 people die within the last year. Like his animal died like a day after one of his friends died, sort of thing. And then you just think, and you don't hear many people like that. So I do think some people are just unlucky, but I don't think there's bad omens or not. I think it's just chance, and some people just get that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's quite unfortunate to be born in that way. Go on, sorry. You were
When
saying.
looking over this question, I was thinking some people are just more unlucky, because my first thought was being born here versus being born literally anywhere else.
Yeah, being born in the West versus most of the
that's like
nations.
That's purely down to luck, and you're just generally unlucky if you don't let to live as good a life as say I did.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that, and genetically as well. If you're born with Down syndrome, or you're born as not an identical twin. You're born conjoined twins. It's very unlucky.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yeah, no. I definitely agree.
It's you, hippie.
Right. Do you want me to read? It is important. Wait, so we all just agree there, right?
Yes.
Okay. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. It's very. Now, this is a very vague one. Because what are religious values? Because religious values can overlap with nominal, values, which aren't attached to religion. But let's take it as this. Well, at least I'll take it as, will there be any like religious ceremony at school?
Religious teachings and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
I think it's important they learn about different religious cultures and stuff.
Right.
I think that's important. I don't think they should be forced to. Obviously, if you send your kid to a religious school, be expected. I'm not like that's stupid. Yeah. But I think if it's just like a normal Catholic school, not Catholic, just a regular school, no religion, state school, I don't think it is important. I think they should teach about religion and stuff, and go into them sort of like go into depth about that sort of stuff. But I don't think you should really be instilling values like that.
Yeah, you are right with the vagueness point. It is quite a vague. All of it's vague. School, state school, religious school.
Yeah.
Religious values. What religious values?
I think me and Ollie actually have shared the same grievance that I find it awfully strange that the state teaches us about religion.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think they do a very good job, to be honest with you.
No.
I obviously I wouldn't want a state school to teach religious values. Teach that one religion is correct.
Yeah, we're not building a confessional state over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was religious, absolutely, but but I'd obviously want it done at a private school. I don't know. I really don't know what to think about religious ceremony, because that's how I'm looking at it, like put into school. I don't know. I'm gonna disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
I'm also disagreeing with this question. Depends on the school, depends on what values. Awful question.
Yeah, terrible question. Maybe the worst, actually. I'm not even joking. All right, is that a unanimous just disagree there?
Yes.
Okay. And with LP as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's disagree.
Next page, page 6. Looking at sex. Okay.
Who wants to go?
Yeah.
LP.
Oh, it's my go to read, isn't
Okay.
it? Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. I disagree.
You disagree.
I don't think, my parents were never married, and I didn't think they were immoral. I think if you're religious, it's seen as that, but I just don't think it's really that immoral,
Right.
It's
Alright.
just sex.
I agree
biology.
with this question, that it's usually immoral. But I have little problem with people who do it. In fact, I think there's a fella
I feel like-
who has done it here, and I don't view him as a lesser being than I. But my point is this: is what is the cause of most abortion? Right? We had this question a couple sessions ago. Is it will be from people having sex outside of marriage, and it usually is done in these kind of one night stands or in these kind of meaningless relationships.
I don't agree with like one night stands. That's like I think sex outside like relationships is bad. I don't think it's moral. I don't think it's been done.
Yeah, but my point is unfinished. It's this: is I'm going to take marriage as I'm going to slightly manipulate the meaning of marriage here. Is that I think sex outside without meaning is absolutely immoral, and that is becoming increasingly the norm, and there's more and more people who are just doing sex for the pleasure, right? And we are seeing I just think we're seeing lower standards with things in general, and more abortions obviously. I think if you're gonna have sex, do it with someone you genuinely care about and genuinely see a future with. That is my point. So I do agree, because so much there's an increasing trend where sex is losing all meaning. It's just viewed as another thing. Sex is you.
That's a really good point. I think that marriage is great. I really like marriage.
Yeah.
I think
I'm a marriage enjoyer.
If I answered anything other than disagree, I'd be a hypocrite. But I do think marriage is great. I just don't think I'm at a time in my life.
Yeah, no.
Where I could.
You're a young man. The world is your oyster.
But I agree with everything you said there. But I'm still gonna have to be disagreeing with this question.
I think it's the word marriage which is the real, kicker here. But I do agree, just because, I think it would be a good world if we abided by that. I think it would be a better world.
I'd agree with you.
Yeah, it's a lofty order, and it's not going to happen anytime soon in the West. But I do think we should become, more conservative when it comes to, the ideas of sex. It should be done with people you love, and that's becoming rarer. That's my point. So that's why I agree, and we all. So you two land at disagree.
Yeah. Yes.
Fair enough.
Next question. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption.
I really hate this question. I really don't like answering this stuff, because I really don't know what to think about it, to be honest.
I think parents are great. Obviously, I think we should have a mother and a father.
I agree.
But I wouldn't want to stop.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to trample on
having a
that.
child.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to trample on that.
So, and I think that outweighs the mother and the father. Obviously, I don't want, for example, the role of a father or a mother to be diminished in any way. I think it's quite needed, quite necessary for a good raise. But I guess if you're in adoption, you're probably not in the best situation. So it would probably be better to allow it than to not allow it.
Yeah, that's a good point about about adoption. It's quite dire. From a rights perspective, I agree. From a rights perspective,
Yeah, I agree. Just because I do think you can fill in the mother and father roles with if it's the right people, they'll fill them roles in. I don't exactly have a dad, but I don't think I've exactly gotten far with it, not far. I think I've developed quite well and stuff. So I don't think it's needed, but and it's good to have. But I do think you can raise a good child without it. And if they're a good couple, they'll have friends and stuff. They might, if they're a gay couple, they might have female friends in their life that sort of offer a mother figure or things like that. So that's why I really agree.
So you strongly okay.
I kind of disagree with some of those points. I think both parent figures are quite necessary to just looking from outcomes, of the households. It's never good to have either a single father or a single mother.
Yeah.
I think putting saying, they'll probably just find a different mother figure or a different.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but they'll look up to people,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the parents will impose someone to do that. They'll be like, oh, well, you're going to be the mother.
No.
Yeah,
People naturally look up to people.
Yeah. I'm saying that would be putting a plaster on quite a big wound if you were to do that. I say it probably wouldn't help that much. I think the roles both parents play are kind of necessary in a good family. And that's coming from someone that didn't have they had a mother and a father, but not together. So that's just my point. I agree with this question.
Yeah, I agree from a rights perspective, but my point is is more natural for father and mother, but I don't know. I'd feel a bit weird telling a gay person that I don't think they should adopt someone. So
Yeah.
So LP strongly agrees. Ollie agrees.
Yeah,
I agree. But I think Ollie had something else to say.
No, that's my whole point.
Yeah.
I couldn't just say, I couldn't say no to that. And again, the desperation argument for me is not desperation, but the fact that if you're in adoption, you're probably not had the best life.
You take what you get.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want people to just not be adopted. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'll read. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. I understand this is a tall order. I disagree because I don't like porn. I don't respect it as a business. But I understand that you can't really censor it online. It takes, you kind of got to go all in and start censoring other shit. If you want to, if you want to ban porn. But my policy would be, I know this infringes on the free market, but I think I have some philosophical. I think I deviate philosophically from the orthodox view of freedom, but I wouldn't allow pornography businesses in my country. No, I wouldn't allow that. So, but I won't exactly go all in and banning it online, but I won't allow the businesses.
My point is we allow other depravities. We allow gambling.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was about to say we allow drinking and stuff as well. That damages the brain and the liver and stuff.
Obviously, I don't think pornography is good, but I don't see banning it as much of an option. So I'd really agree for this.
I put agree as well, just because with what other things we allow as well.
I'll add this as I think it's better than, having sex with some random woman. But no, there was a study actually. This Dutch scientist, biologist or something. This is interesting, and it relates to pornography. Is he got these butterflies, and he made like artificial flowers, and over time they became more and more enticed by the artificial flowers. These butterflies are pollinators with the artificial flowers, and of course, if we look at this with humans and porn, we don't want to be more interested in virtual sex than actual sex. And apparently there's some statistic where people do have less sex when they watch porn, right? So I don't think we should do Kumas. I think we should discourage it, at the very least. We should frown upon porn. But again, I understand that your points about we allow other vagrancies. We allow other vices in society. So yeah, I agree with your guys' points, but I disagree with the question still. So you guys agree? I disagree.
I think the point about not having sex has a lot of merit in lifestyle. Don't ask me for a source, but I definitely have seen quite a lot of things saying that people are having a lot less sex now than they did in the 70s. I think just parents. I think it was the new parents now. That's somewhat of a bleak outlook.
I feel like we're having less children as well. When we're more obsessed, we have less children. And again, the population collapse is going to be pretty bad. Because we're having so little children. It's just,
Yeah, that's a good point.
We should. Yeah. I do actually see porn as quite a bit more worse than gambling and drinking, because of purely that aspect. Actually, it's infringing on our progress very, very apparently.
On a society level, maybe, but on an individual.
The thing is, that's a very good example. This question is a very good example on an individual level. It doesn't seem too much, but on a societal level, it's actually quite a bit big. So there's this aspect of broken window theory: is it might not seem big at first, right? But it becomes even worse. It just keeps getting worse. So it's very hard. Ollie brought a good point. Is individually it doesn't seem that much, but societally. So I'm sticking with my guns.
Who's that?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Alright,
so you guys agree? You guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And I disagree. Okay.
What's he on about?
Who's reading?
Where's mine?
I can read next. You want?
Isn't it my go reading, or have I just read?
I think it's your. Wait. I think
Yeah.
I think it is.
You read?
I think it's your go.
Okay. What goes on in the bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I strongly agree. I don't.
Okay.
I think. But actually, no. I agree, because I do think there's some weird things that shouldn't be allowed. But
you make a good point.
Like,
Ollie made the best point I heard on this one time.
Even if it's still consensual, even if it's still consensual, it can still be like unconsensual, like C and C. Some people like free use. Oh, you can use me whenever you want. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's still like, it still can get pretty like edgy. Like it can go on a fine line.
Yeah.
So I agree, because I don't really want the state knowing what I'm doing in the bedroom.
Of course.
But I do think if they have to, they should be able to know, because there are some weird kinks out there and stuff that can go on the border of domestic abuse and stuff. Like BDSM, that's abuse practically, even if it is consenting.
What point did I make last time?
This wasn't last time actually, but I think it was one of the times before. It was that if someone consents to giving someone AIDS, right? I think that absolutely, we should breach that, but obviously the means are quite hard there. That was along your point, is that I guess that kind of is the state's business if people are agreeing to give each other AIDS, but I'm pretty much, I'm on a similar page of LP there. Is I agree, purely because of that kind of curveball. Is I would normally strongly agree, but that's the kicker.
No, I just don't agree with the state being all up in my business.
No,
I'm pretty sure this question is not on about giving each other AIDS. I'm pretty
sure but this is encompassing all things. It's what goes in on a private bedroom with consenting adults, right? That entails sex, but what are the factors?
Yeah.
Who has what, who lacks what.
If someone asked me this, I think they would be talking about homosexuality.
No, that was my first thing as well.
But through the lens of some illegal activity like spreading AIDS, no, I'm just in agree here. But if it said homosexuality, then I'd be strongly agree. Cause you can do what you want. I don't really care.
Yeah, as long as it's not imposing on me, do what you like,
Yeah. Okay. So
that's sort of my.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Everyone else? I know LP.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Okay. Nice. Next question. I think Ollie reads this.
No one can feel naturally homosexual. I stand with disagree on this question.
I stand with disagree.
I
do want to make a point though that I do think there is a problem online where people are being sort of indoctrinated into it.
I've
noticed a lot more people, like, this isn't me, being like, oh, you're actually gay, but I've noticed a lot more teenagers and stuff are coming out as gay and things like that. But if you look at their online feeds and stuff, it's all that sort of stuff. So I do think you can obviously naturally feel it. I've got two gay uncles and things like that. But I do think very much online can also influence you. So I do think there is an influence from the media.
I don't think that's an issue of homosexuality. I think that's an issue of I think the whole trans thing is perpetuated online.
No, but like,
with you.
I agree with that, but I think as a whole, like, all that sort of stuff, like the LGBTQ movement on a whole has sort of like... So there's girls from my school who say they are.
Can I take
that
it
away?
No, go ahead, actually. Finish your thing.
Oh, I was just going to say there's like girls in my school who've said they are and say they are and stuff, and then they'll change it up each week. Being like, oh no, I'm gay. It's like, no, it's just what's coming up on your For You page on TikTok that's influencing.
Like most things, I find this question is... it's a mix of both factors. I think it is both genetic and it's a mix, genetic and environmental. Is in today's world, we are seeing, more and more people just go with the flow. And me and Ollie knew a guy, literally an average guy, right? Eye clip, Ollie.
Oh yeah.
And he started hanging out with girls of kind of the the gay, right? And of that kind of ideology, and he became trans out of nowhere, by the way, out of nowhere. So I think, and I'll compare it to this, is obviously there will be people who turn out gay in kind of stricter religious communities like the Amish, wherever, right? You know, stricter religious communities, there are people who turn out gay, and that likely is genetic. But there is less and less, right? Obviously, some will be closeted, but it's because it's less perpetuated there, right? It's not seen, it's not talked about. So there absolutely is this societal aspect, and you know, you can't really erase it.
I also think like I just do think media is a big part of it. You know,
absolutely. You know what you consume, you are what you eat.
Yeah, like I do know one person. He's not that open about it and stuff, and like I shouldn't really know it, but I do through like a mutual friend. But he like, you know, he's trans and stuff, but he's not open about it. You know, it's his hidden thing. So like. I like him, I believe, you know, because he's not open about it. It's his little hidden thing.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going around sort of spreading it, being like, oh, you know. And I doubt his For You page is like it or anything. I just think it's how he feels most comfortable.
Right.
But then I know like other people, like other girls, it's their whole personality, and I think that's the only reason they are it is because it makes them unique.
Yeah, makes them. You gotta, you know, it's our desire to join a club. Also, I had a point as well, an additional point. Oh God, it'll come to me.
Your environmental factors, practically.
God, no, the point will come to me. I'll read the question though. These days about sex, these days openness about sex has gone too far. I strongly agree with this.
I agree with this.
It was basically my whole point earlier in the thing. Is, you know, sex has lost all meaning. You can do it with anyone now. Oh wait, no. All right, I've got my point. I've got my point of the other one. All I'm saying is, you know, with all these vaccines, we're getting a lot more gay.
Is that your whole point? All that build up for that terrible.
I think they're putting chemicals in the water, mate.
Sorry, I forgot that my point was a joke, so that's why I was struggling to think. No, let me restart from the on the actual question though. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. That was basically my whole talking point in the prior questions.
I don't strongly agree as like an individual myself. Like I know a lot of people that have, and they're not very open about it. You know, they're very private and stuff, and I'm pretty private about that sort of stuff. You know, I might tell my friends, but you know, I'm not about to go spreading it everywhere, sort of thing. Being like, oh yeah, this and that. Like, I do think as an individual in like the community I'm in, it's pretty well, like, you know, closed and not very open.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I do think on a societal level, it is quite an open thing. You know, people post it online and stuff. So I'm going to put agree, because from what I can see as a person, you know, not online and stuff, it's pretty closed. I don't hear many people, unless they're like dickheads, sort of going on about that sort of stuff. But I do see online there's a lot of it. So I'm going to put agree, because I'm taking my environment and just social media into account.
Right.
I'm agreeing this.
Yeah, no, I strongly agree with this one. I just think, yeah, literally, it's just the amount. Oh God, it's too much. Yeah.
I do think it is a problem online. Like you'll just hear about.
It's too casual.
Changed.
Yeah. Nobody would have done this even 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we were by no means, you know, traditional. You know. All the kind of waves of feminism were going. Not that that's a bad thing, I think, you know. Well, some of them absolutely are bad. Some of the waves, but no, it's terrible. I mean, look at Bonnie Blue as an example. That's openness about sex.
That's a really good point.
It's just, you know, it's terrible. No, we shouldn't talk about it.
I think a lot of people did kind of get a bit black-pilled by that. I think a lot of people...
I'm glad. You know what? I'm super glad that's woke people up, actually, because I've always thought this. By the way, you know, it's so. I hate it. I really do. I do think we should just be traditional again.
I think we should be able to talk about it. Isn't it like an educational sense
Well,
and
yeah.
an advice?
I think we've always done.
So I don't want it to become like a taboo subject sort of thing. But I don't think you should just be really open about what you did
even
and things
in
like that.
even in religious communities, there is discussion about hey, my sex isn't too good, but it's people today who will just mention sex for no reason at all.
Yeah.
For there is no need, and again, that's my whole point. It's losing meaning, and and it does relate to the less children point as well. I think
It's a good point.
Anyway, sex is casual rather than Anyway,
I think we're
all
done.
Yeah. So let's see where we all land.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, right, let's have a little look. Oh, I got left libertarian.
I got half right, but centre half right. We will all send our things in chat, and we'll have a little. I guess we'll have a little,
Discussion
overall
about it.
epilogue, discussion. I'll put in politics.
Politics. Okay. Very interesting.
Oh wow! I think that was because of the economic factors you're there.
Yeah. Jeez, I'm more far right than you.
Oh. Yeah, no, it's because I'm less free market. I'm
Socialist.
LP. You haven't put your thing. I can see your thing, but you haven't put it in. That's annoying me.
I'm gonna put it in for you.
Yeah, go ahead. And just tag LP in it.
Yeah. Interesting. So, I wonder what question. I wish it told me what questions.
Yeah, what questions put you where?
Yeah.
Right, let me send the screenshot.
It's a very interesting.
Yeah,
point.
I knew I'd be the most off. I'm not too off, to be honest, but
No.
I just like Singapore. That's the only reason why I'm off.
Yeah, you're basically just one block above me. Actually, when it comes to.
Yeah. I still view you as lib right, by the way.
Wait,
I think it's just because of your There's some questions which I think I know why they put you off.
Yeah, I'd have to go back over them. I think. Yeah, that was probably why.
Do it again.
I put yours in chat, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I have you. Oh, okay, thank you. Did you just see my screen recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was watching it the whole
seconds
time.
with I.
So,
How do I? Isn't it Windows S?
Shift, Windows key, and S.
Yeah. Okay. I did Control Windows S, which is voice.
I have a different program for it.
LP, what do you think of your results, though?
I don't think they've changed too much.
I'm actually gonna put an image where we assumed where we would be, as well.
That'd be a good one.
I don't think I've changed a whole lot though, realistically.
Yeah, lib pens.
I'll put it in chat.
Oh, go. Nice.
Wait, mine or just where we...
No. This hypothetical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon
Yeah.
you got pretty close. I'm looking for my old one to see a comparison.
I think the question that put me there was things like possessing marijuana first. Wait, no, never mind.
No,
Give me
you were okay with the marijuana thing, I think.
I'm trying to find which question. Oh, okay. I said that we should restrict multinational corporations.
Ah, yeah.
There
Which should be fairly,
Yeah.
But yeah. LP, if you want to find where you used to land,
I am
put
here.
your search
Just
your
over
name
on
in.
Steam.
Search your name in the politics thing.
Oh yeah.
See that? Press from. Not
I
frock.
can't spell.
From. User. LP. Lost pens. Showed. And I mean, you can just scroll. You can find stuff. Oh,
You got 39 pages of results.
And,
I would probably
you could put has, then put has.
Oh yeah.
Has.
Yeah, has.
Not that kind
Has.
of has. Has.
Cool.
Like has. Scroll down. On the search options. Has. There. Your mouse is just on it. Down. One more. Down.
No.
There. Has. Image. There. And it'll turn up.
It's your normal.
Unless I'm going friggin' mad.
Why is it not on there?
It'll be on there.
Has.
Has. Is that how I sound? Has.
Has. There we go.
What the fuck? Are you a commie? Oh wow. Those old results. So press jump. Jump.
Talking.
Press jump.
Jump.
Jump. Oh, because others will come up as well. Okay.
Oh, I've not changed. That's great.
What the hell? Oh god, I used to be off the left. I used to believe in wealth redistribution and all this crap.
I think everyone just copied my results. There you go. That's where I used to be. I've not moved.
Yeah, no, you are the omni-liberal.
He's the only liberal.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Fair enough.
So pretty central.
I haven't moved.
Yeah, no, I'm a centre boy as well.
I moved a bit more to the authoritarian.
Apparently, I'm not a centre boy.
You're a fascist.
You're more right than hippie.
Yeah, but that's because of
That is
economics.
Thanks, I get that a lot.
To be fair, the Sappy values is a superior test because it does that. It is often economics, and then it has the conservative bar. You know, which I'll probably be the most conservative, I'm assuming.
I'd assume so.
I'd assume so as well.
I'm gonna get my my 8 values as well.
Oh yeah. I'll send that.
How do I go get them?
No.
You might not
You
have
have
done
to do
it.
another test.
Probably haven't done
You
it.
have to-
Oh, I can't be bothered to do
Yeah,
that.
it is quite long.
I need to go revise. And I remember the test was very long.
Smash that like button, guys. You know.
Much I like that.
Like,
It's been a long old record.
Hello. I felt it was necessary to do my own sort of epilogue for this video because there was a lot of context missed when kind of just discussing the last part where we're talking about this is your result, this was your result. So I'm just going to pull them up on the screen, talk a bit. You get the deal. So this was the kind of projected results which we assumed we'd had, and we made this, well, me and Ollie made this with, you know, it's kind of a political compass with all the kind of characters we've encountered on Discord, just where we think they'd land. It's kind of a spoof on those kind of political compass memes, but I'm the little monkey on the off right. So I kind of was put there, pretty off, more right than I actually ended up. Ollie, way more libertarian than he ended up, though I still view Ollie as this kind of big free market guy. I know why he got more off than he was. And you see Lost Pens, he's there in the middle. I still view him there, to be honest, but maybe not. I could see the reality that he drifts quite a bit more left. Not too much. He's still very much centre lib left, you know, that's fairly definitive. As for the other people, that is a whole new can of worms. So let's just get on to the next part. So here are Lost Pens' results. So the one at the bottom, this kind of small one, that is his most recent results, the test which we just did, and the others from erroneous dates. But I think it's the Sappy Values one, the one on the right, which is really quite interesting. He's literally Leon Trotsky. I don't know what Lost Pens was up to then, but off left. I don't associate LP with the USSR, but take that as what you will. And the other political compass test, the one on the left. So there's very little difference. He is just more libertarian and more left-leaning. So LP was right. He hasn't changed too much. So it's interesting, I guess. Now for Ollie. So the bottom right are his actual results. So just from the recording which you've just watched. And then the far left, well, the top left is his, I guess, last political compass results. He's close to where I landed, actually. But he's the alarming thing, or rather the thing which Ollie would see as rather alarming, would be him being very close to the off left. But as you can see from the 8 values, big markets guy, that's what I was talking about. And again, maybe Ollie's might be having a bit of a strange time thinking about it. 50% off, 50% libertarian, right? That's interesting. But the sappy values, I'd say, which is the top right, seems to be pretty damn accurate to me, at least. I feel like he'd be a bit more libertarian, but he is to the right, relatively conservative, and he no, I just straight up, I just think that's pretty accurate. Though I think he should be slightly more lib, but who knows. I also want to note that Ollie wasn't too happy with the neoliberal label which the test gave him, and neither am I happy. They call me a right-wing populist, and I happen to think right-wing populism, or any kind of populism, is dreadful. You know, I'm a big anti-populist, to be honest. But that's what 8 values have called me. So I'd say 8 values is fairly accurate. I'd like to say more traditional, but yeah. But if you look at the tests, the most recent one is the bottom right. But if you look at my old results, I used to be off left. I was bashing LP for being a commie, but I was basically a Stalinist. You know, because Stalin, big off left, but he was quite socially conservative. So just look at the sappy one, top left. And I mean, I would have been in the same frame of thought for the political compass one, top right. So I am on no grounds to bash anyone. But I've reformed. I am a free market enjoyer now, and I've always been big into the whole tradition thing, which so that's never changed. It's just economics. I don't know, now I'm just kind of a pragmatist, you know. Economically, you do what works best. I know that sounds like I stand for nothing, but I think it's better than just dogmatically sticking to some economic ideology if it doesn't work. Alright, but hey, that's the video, guys. I'm excited to record more stuff. We'll see. You know, I want to get on this channel more. So, see ya. You know, I want to get on here more than just podcast. But anyway, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.